and that's just my belief.
When my dad was younger, he was also a former Catholic as well with the whole family. It wasn't until my dad was also sacristan, so he prepared.
Okay, I was also
I
sacristan. By the way.
see. So he was the one preparing the ostia, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
what they call it.
the body of Christ.
Yes, and then I remember my he mentioned in the story where the priest would tell him, "Hey, don't eat the leftover ostia because if you eat it, your teeth will bleed, your whole mouth will bleed." And I remember my dad mentioning when he was like 11 or 12 years old after service, he ate the ostia. I was like, man, the priest was lying.
What? Can you repeat that?
Man, the priest was lying because my teeth weren't bleeding.
So the priest was lying and it's supposed to bleed.
Yeah. Like as soon as service ends, and if you eat the leftover ostia, your teeth will bleed.
Wow.
It wasn't until the missionaries of the church that we're in right now visited my grandpa and my dad and their whole family in their house. It was brown out at that time, and then as soon as actually my lolo was very against our church at the time, and then every time he saw the missionaries, he would tell my dad and my aunties and uncles to go inside the house. Look, it's the Mormon missionaries. Get in. They're a cult, blah, like that. And then at this one specific day, it was brown out, and then he was clinging my lolo. He was clinging onto the jeep, and then obviously he heard this voice, and then it's like my lolo's name was Ben. So Ben, what are you doing? Are you okay? Are you scared? I said, no. And then he answered the voice and said, "There's those freaking Mormon missionaries again. They're trying to infect us with this thing." And I said, "Are you scared of them?" I said, "No, I'm not scared of them. They're just people."
The word that he used was infect.
Yeah, infect or like they're going to teach us this nonsense, this stuff.
Yeah, every religion looks like it's nonsensical to the other.
Yes, and then while talking to that voice, he asked, "So are you scared of them? They're just people." And I said, "No, I'm not scared of them." And then, okay, so let them in. This was just him. This was something he heard. And then, so because of that, he stopped clinging onto his jeep, and then he let the mission.
What do you mean clinging onto his jeep?
He was it's this like old World War II jeep that my Lolo had, and he was just clinging onto like the mainframe.
What was it, like in a dream? What do you mean?
Oh no, it was happening in real life.
Why was he clinging onto the jeep?
For some reason, according to him, he almost had a heart attack because of the missionaries.
He was clinging onto the
He was like this.
Why would you cling onto a jeep when you're about to have a heart attack?
Well, like you have that feeling like you're about to collapse, and that's why he was clinging onto it. And then
so he was trying to use it as support.
Yeah, use it as support. And
so
then
he was about to collapse, and then he was
he clinged
hanging onto it.
Yeah, to the jeep.
Clinging onto it sounds like
somebody, like this.
Somebody is about to get it from him. You know what I mean? So
like
he was using
here.
it. So he felt like he was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
So he was holding on to it. He was leaning into it, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
then that's when he heard the voice, and then when he heard that, let them in. So like I said, it was brown out at that time, and then when the missionaries came into the house lit up. The only house in the neighborhood lit up. So and then they were taught by the missionaries, and then that's basically what
how you got started.
Yes, well.
That's how you got convinced.
So that's when they were taught by the missionaries, and all of the. I don't mean to offend, but like there were. There is, but it's for college only. It's called BYU Hawaii. There's one in Hawaii.
No, I'm talking about here in Cebu.
On what up?
Why not?
I actually don't know yet. It's mostly based in the States.
105.
105.1 TMC Villamore. Tara na! It is now 9 8 minutos nang nilabay sa alas 9. You're listening to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Jukes. Right across me is Raj.
Hello, everyone.
And let's delve into the local news headlines. In Sunstar Cebu, COA, or the Commission on Audit, asked to audit oval and bridge projects. According to the Cebu City Council, they want the rehabilitation of the track oval of the Cebu City Sports Center and the construction of the bridge in Barangay Pulang Bato audited. Both projects were implemented by the same contractor, the SBD Builders. Murag naguba nam sa nagbalik ang kaning racetrack. Have you ever been to the Cebu City Sports Center, Raj, by any chance?
Yes. Is it the one that's near SM Cebu?
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's near Elizabeth Mall. Is that? Are you familiar with that mall?
No, haven't heard of
Okay,
it.
so you should go there. That's a very
okay.
nice racetrack. It's rubberized, and you can
I see.
similar to Ateneo.
I see.
So that's the headlines for Sunstar Cebu. Also, a provisional authority for PUVs extended until next December. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, has extended the provisional authority for public utility jeepneys, or PUJs, and utility vehicle express units to continue operating until next December. Under the Memorandum Circular MC 2023-043, effective Monday, December 9, 2024, the LTFRB has extended the validity of PAs for operators of public utility vehicles who have applied for consolidation under the Public Transport Modernization Program. Those are the local headlines on Sunstar Cebu. It'll do you a lot of good if you just get a copy of Sunstar Cebu, or you can go to their official website. You can even subscribe and download their app so you can get the digital copy of their newspaper, that's Sunstar Cebu. What do you think of that? Well, how do you feel about kanato mga jeepney, atong public utility vehicles, Raj? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Anatay public utility jeepneys, because this whole PUV thing is a very Filipino thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most and in most parts of the world, they've already gotten rid of public utility vehicles.
Yes.
So how do you feel about that? You being a student who, you have to transport, you have to go from one point to another and all of that stuff, and you have friends maybe or neighbors who have to use the PUJ or PUV. How do you feel about that?
For me personally, in my house, I'm protected by my parents to not even use the jeepney. My very first.
What do you mean by protected? That seems such a harsh word. Well, protected from what?
Protected from the.
What do you mean by protected, man? What do you mean?
Well, I'm protected from the from whatever danger that may come in the streets.
Okay.
So actually, my very first jeepney ride was when I turned 18.
Wow. Tell me about your first jeepney ride. Gabi hagod. Anong ipa-jeepney man ka?
Well, I remember. Well, I remember being in SM City Consolacion.
Okay.
And then I remember just telling my dad, please, I want to have my first jeepney ride. I'm already 18.
Okay.
And all of my friends, they really start riding the first jeepney at the age of 11.
Okay.
They know the streets. They know where to go. And my dad's completely fine with it. It's my mom that's just I guess you could say, who loves me so much to not.
But how do you feel about that? From a macro perspective, since you've only been a guest to a jeepney, usara ka nakaadto when you were 18 years old, just so that you can try it, right?
Yes.
But how do you feel about how it works and how it makes this city function better, or does it make it worse, having public utility jeepneys?
I will say at first when I figured how it worked, it was very overwhelming.
Okay.
Like I just
Anong overwhelmed man ka ba? Nga naunsa man?
I thought that it was just very simple. Now when you see the name, okay, this is going to SM City Cebu. That's what it meant.
Okay.
And then that's when I first commuted with a friend. They mentioned the numbers on the jeepney. I was like, wait, the numbers are important in the jeepney? I was like, wait, 1A
wait, this takes you to SM Cebu, right? No, it takes you to the other side. It takes you to Lahug. Okay. So why is SM Cebu in the name? So that got me like really confused. So hence that led to me being overwhelmed. But in terms of like how useful the PUJ is to other people, yeah, it really helps for the people who don't have
Private vehicles, you mean?
Yeah, private vehicles,
Okay.
or don't have the money to get into any private vehicle, or even be able to afford a car. So I think
Okay.
it's very useful to those people to get to the places where they need to go.
Okay. You mentioned earlier SM City, SM Seaside, Consolacion, Ayala, Robinsons, and all of that stuff. It's written on the signage of the
jeepneys,
the
yes.
jeepneys, also painted on the
the
sides,
side.
right? Are you familiar with 17D?
No
Do
comment.
you know where that leads to?
No comment.
You mean you don't know, right?
I have no idea.
Let me give you an education. Idukahon ka nako unsa ng 17D.
Okay.
And I'll let cookies do it for you. Is that okay?
Okay.
On 105.1 TMC, the best of us.
Yeah. Apas lahog. Apas, did you hear that? Good morning, Bird. Good morning, Boyo official tuta. We have like our listeners on YouTube.
Oh, I see.
Hey, can you see it there now?
Yes, but I can see it here.
On the YouTube?
Yes, but.
Okay. Let's talk about bullying. I think.
Sige ba?
Let's talk about bullying. Who's that American senator who ran for president? Who is a Mormon? Oh, I love him. I just forgot his name because he
You ran for president?
yeah, like 3 elections ago.
I'm not sure. Let me do this research.
He's probably in his 70s now,
Okay.
early 80s.
Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney. You know him now.
Never heard of
You've
him.
never heard of him?
Never heard.
He's like a Mormon.
Yeah.
One 105.1 TMC with the Jiggy Juice. You're
It's the
listening.
top of the morning. I'm your host, together with my co-anchor for this morning. While we're waiting for Justin, we have Raj.
Hello, top of the morning to you all, everyone.
Yes, hashtag TOTM. Ayong bungkag. Nimo Boyo official 2008. Boyo! What is Boyo? Who's Boyo?
Who's boy?
And Bert. May buntag ni mo din, Bert. Bert, kani si Bert by kaning. He's a cyclist.
Oh,
He's a rider. He rides the the bicycle and all of that stuff. Kani si mga kagalan, kani si Raj.
hello, everyone.
He's 18 years old and he used to go to school in Ateneo de Cebu. Now he's just homeschooled, right?
Yep.
Kind of homeschooled. That's actually a very interesting way of learning, right? I have a few friends. I remember Lyndon Angan, my good friend. He used to work for Island Souvenirs, and he's also actually kind of an adventurer.
Oh,
His
I see.
kids are also
Homeschooled,
Yeah.
yeah.
And a few other friends who are homeschooled. I'm curious, Raj. I know we were supposed to talk about something else.
Yeah.
But ganahan ko magisgot na homeschooling. Like, unsa man na, like, can you describe to me the philosophy behind homeschooling? Don't let's not get into the weeds, or,
Yes,
or
yes.
maybe we will get into the weeds. But I want to see the big picture first. Unsa man na, nganong what's the philosophy? Nganong mag homeschool man? Go ahead.
Well, I got into homeschool because I was previously an Ateneo student from kinder to grade 2.
Yeah. So what's the philosophy behind homeschooling?
Well, it's more about learning independently and through self-reliance, where you just get to see how your brain interprets the knowledge that you see
Isn't
in
going
books.
isn't going to school aren't you being taught to be self-reliant? So you feel like self-reliance is inborn, is ingrained into you before you go to school? Because when you say that's where you learn self-reliance, I feel like isn't that what school also teaches you, to be self-reliant?
I remember at some points when I was younger, when from elementary school, almost everything was done for you, especially when projects. Like I remember having to make a project, and it's mostly the my parents that had to help with those projects.
Okay.
So when I got into homeschool, like checking.
So you don't feel like that's teaching you self-reliance?
In school,
Was it you who asked your parents to make the project, or was it the school that asked you to make the projects?
it was the school that asked me to make the project
And then you asked your parents to do the project.
while I was in the middle.
Why did you ask them to do the project? Man, that's not their job.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about, because I am a parent, and
Yes.
I had a lot of projects who I helped. But usually my daughter actually, especially my daughter, and my son too, they actually ended up making those projects, because I didn't have none of it, you know?
Yes.
That's not my project.
Yes.
I'm terrible with my hands.
Yeah.
So did you go kibaw magpahimo or whatever crafts and stuff that they were asked to do? So I always told them, you do that yourselves, you know?
Yeah. Well, there are times where I would also I would start making the projects,
Okay.
but coming from like a mom who's very who's really good in arts and crafts and designing, when she started to see my work, I was like, what has happened to my son? I did not raise this person to make spaghetti, but then come out with mac and cheese. So I could make the projects, but let's just say
Horribly.
I saw them 100%, but to my parent, but to my mom, it was just 1%. was not the best.
Okay.
As well.
So but you asked your parents to do it.
Yeah, I then eventually asked after the first time. It's not the best.
So the school probably doesn't know that, or probably have an idea, you know, that somebody else must have made this. Because this is very good. This can't be the work of an 8-year-old. Right.
Yeah, but although I wrote some of the stuff, the majority of the work that they did was just helping. I had to, of course, write everything, and then, but like, you know, the words.
So, but the school was teaching you self-reliance right there, but you didn't take that lesson, right?
Yeah, I did
right?
not.
So
I think.
So because we're in this conversation because you're talking about self-reliance and how homeschooling will teach you self-reliance. Well, the school was trying to give you that lesson, but you didn't take it.
Well, I mean, they gave the job of self-reliance to 6-year-olds.
You give it. You gave it to your parents, right?
Yeah, but the way that I saw it was they gave such a huge task for someone who could barely learn how to speak well in class.
Okay.
So like.
So you felt like the project was too much. For
yeah,
you.
it was a bit too.
Or maybe it was too much because they knew that you could do it, but not perfectly.
Yeah, not the best way.
Not the best way. And I think had you done it and it looked horrible and you submitted it, you would have still probably got a grade and or maybe failed, but would do better next time.
Yeah.
But then that's another lesson. You failed at this, and then you got to do it better. So the lesson was always there, but you didn't take it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now that you mentioned it, I never like saw it in that paradigm.
Okay.
Yeah. But like the way that I see it is, they gave a bit like complicated task. Yeah, I definitely see the self-reliance of giving a project to someone like a 6-year-old at that time. But I think there are times where
I remember my daughter who was also from the same school as you.
Yeah.
You went to. You know, she was complaining, she was suffering, she was crying and all that stuff. But eventually she made it.
Yeah, she made it.
And you know like and then when you look back at the suffering that you go through, especially in the academic sense, like like there was a reason for that suffering. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why they let you do impossible things, because out there in the real world you're going to be asked to do even crazier things.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
So
Well, also one of the main reasons why I did.
You went to homeschooling.
Yeah,
we're talking about homeschooling.
Yeah, we
here.
were talking about. Yeah.
Let's keep our eye on the prize.
Here we go.
My main question: what's the philosophy behind homeschooling? And you said independence and self-reliance.
Yeah.
But I was telling you
Yeah.
that hey, there was a
you
lesson
can do
of
it.
self-reliance, but you didn't take it.
Yeah. So also one of the reasons why I also went to homeschool is because,
No, that's not the question. The question is,
sorry.
what's the philosophy behind homeschooling?
Well,
You said self-reliance, and I told you an example of a case when you were given the lesson of self-reliance and you didn't take it.
okay. So for me, the philosophy of homeschool, I think it's a way of saying that learning by yourself, you get to see what you could be like if you were the teacher. So, and it also teaches you the importance of discipline. I know that you can learn discipline from schools through deadlines, tasks, and stuff. But I think the philosophy of homeschool is, it's the weight of it is less compared to a regular school, because there are certain people who can learn at a certain time frame. Like they want to take their own pace, can't keep up with the pace of regular school. So that's why lots of people, they decided to go homeschools, because either school was too hard for them, that it reached their breaking point, that it broke their pace of, I can't keep up with this.
Okay.
I have this project to do, and then there's a test coming up today, and then I have to do this.
Okay.
While in homeschool, you get to slow down. You get to pick up your pieces, and then find where they have to put back together. Because for some people, I'm not saying everyone went through this. Like when they go through regular school, it's like putting together a puzzle with no picture.
Okay. Speaking of homeschool, speaking of learning our lessons
Yes.
by ourselves, or at least independently from an institution, let me give you a lesson on Philippine history.
Oh, here we go.
You like that? You like that?
Yes, yeah, I like that.
In a song, right?
Okay.
Kasabot ko nga, you're also a kind of an artist, right?
Yes.
So let's listen to this next song. This one is from Yoyoy Villame.
Oh, I love that song.
This one is called SCE Philippine or Magellan Philippine Geography.
All right, here we go.
Let's listen on 105.1 TMC, ang pinakasugbuanan ng radio station sa Tibok Libutan.
Oh, I love Yoye Villame. Yung YouTube, are we live right now?
Bro?
In YouTube, are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Hey! I missed.
Do you guys see you?
Already, man, already.
Already.
We've already talked about a bazillion things. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Speaking of teaching things, Miss Narvis has taught me so much about psychology.
Oh, wow.
Oh no. How are you, Rod? Welcome to
Very good, Miss. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm disrespecting you if I don't call you Miss anymore.
That's fine. Oh, what's your weekend, GD?
Was good. I think.
Beside to Nimo?
No. Just there.
Okay, got it. Alright.
She'll go in your house.
There's on the chair there.
Okay.
No. Yeah, there lang. Oh. Let him move that here.
Okay,
Use that.
I got this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if that microphone works though.
Okay. That's fine. You can just leave it there. It's okay. Yeah, wherever's comfortable. You got this one? Okay, that's perfect. Is it your first time in Tops?
Yeah. Oh no, on Tops no. So that's not my first time. That's
Okay,
my
but
first
yeah,
time.
TMC.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. We're so happy that you chose us for your internship.
Yes, very excited.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Like, even though it's how do you call this, homeschooled, you still have to like report to
Yes, we have to report to like the headquarters.
headquarters. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Nice program, no?
Yes.
Are you required to do a number of hours?
Yes, 80 hours. I have the envelope.
Oh, okay. Only 80 hours. Okay, very short.
That's good.
But you're welcome here for more than that.
I'll say about. Thank you so much.
If you want to stay longer, that's fine.
105.1 TMC. That one is Yoyoy, Villami, and
Magellan Philippine geography. We were talking about homeschooling earlier. Justine, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear yourself?
No.
How about this?
No,
How about this?
No.
I think it's coming out. Okay.
No, not hearing it.
How about try this? How about trying this microphone instead? Hold on, give me a second. Justine Narvios has just arrived. He's ready. She's
Here,
ready.
is this good? Okay, perfect.
Welcome back, Ate Justine. Here we go.
Hi, Raj. Welcome to TMC.
Thank
Hi,
you so
Jiggy.
much.
Top of the morning, guys.
Mayang bungkag.
Mayang bungkag.
So Justine, we were just talking about the self-taught, like homeschool, and I was teaching him
Yeah.
a little bit of Philippine geography from Yoyoy Villami.
Via Uncle Yoyoy.
Such an amazing singer.
Yeah.
Because he was telling me how he also kind of ganan po siya music, but he's also like a musical
Yeah.
musical artist, and he in fact he has some songs in him. So, what better way to learn than from a song, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you remember anything from Philippine geography school?
Consumantum S was the last words of Jose Rizal.
Oh, okay.
What does that mean? I never got that lesson.
Yeah, I thought
What does that mean?
before he was shot,
before
diba?
he
Yeah,
shot?
before his shot.
Dili day kan agay. Dili day.
Dili kay agay sakit lagi.
Consumantum S, I'm pretty sure it translates to everything has finished, or like it was done. The work is done. The work is done.
The work was done.
You mean his work was
Yeah,
done?
his work was done.
Wow.
So what was his work?
Just trying to get the message out to the about independency.
The music.
So his message was.
Yeah. So just to tell everyone about his works and what the works of the priests were in Spain, and through his two books.
Okay. So he felt like his work was done.
Yeah, since he was gonna die.
No,
Yeah,
but did
murag-
he feel like it wasn't complete yet, or what? So he there was a kind of accomplishment already in his part. He felt like
Yeah.
he's already done his job. Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay.
Yeah, no?
I never got that in my Jose Rizal. maybe,
So-
maybe I was dozing off.
No, I think so.
Mura natog
I
siguro ko ato, di ba?
I think wasn't ko ni pay attention, Jiggy, because I do just remember that he wrote the two books.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought the last thing that he said was probably something like, I don't know, like
Agay!
no, like something like, I don't know, maybe like Viva Philippines or something like
Yeah,
that. But
Viva.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know, some random.
Sounds like the French Revolution.
But apparently it was that. What
Yeah.
what is it? Latin, right?
I think so. Consumatum S. I'm not 100%
Consumatum
sure.
S.
How
So cool.
how did they who recorded that? Who said that? I mean, like who said that? That's what he said.
Some random Filipino movie that was playing in the middle class.
I like that. I love that.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe the soldiers. I don't know who.
So how was your
who took
weekend,
note of that.
Justine?
It was great.
We were talking about how he got here and the process of
Yeah.
him climbing up all the way to 2,000 feet above sea level.
So you got to see the Tops Gym, aka our
Yeah.
stairs.
Yeah. So how about you, Justin? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. Super restful.
Super restful.
Super. Because all I did was sleep. Finally.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, because I'm finally on Christmas break now, so I've just been resting.
That's scary to me because they say in that book that I was letting you read,
You mean the audiobook?
the audiobook
Uh-huh.
about the order of time, they say that sleep is the sister of death.
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember that part.
When you say super sleep,
Yeah. What does that
so
mean?
what do you mean? If sleep is the sister of death,
Yeah.
what super sleep?
So I got like the eldest, really old sister. Because
Okay.
then I got like super
So
sleep.
like how many hours did you log in?
Oh, I don't know. All I did. Let's see, huh?
Or was sleep?
Yeah, all I did pretty much was sleep and only wake up to eat and then go back to sleep again.
Wow,
Yeah.
I like that. Oh,
I
man,
know.
love
I
that.
know. That's
Like the dream life.
That's the dream life. It's the most rare experience.
No social media, no Netflix, no nothing.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
no. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Now that you brought it up.
Here we
Now
go.
that you brought it up.
Oh, no.
No, I did watch something that was. I remember now on Saturday. I did this afternoon. It's this Netflix movie about Mother Mary's life before
Okay.
she gave birth to
Oh.
Jesus. It's
Is it-
called Mary.
Is it like documentary? No.
It's not in a documentary style. Like there's
Okay.
no narrator or anything like that. But
Who starred in it?
I don't know. It's like a Netflix film, something like that.
Okay.
It's a new one called Mary. It's in the top 10 list.
Wow.
It was really nice.
In
It was
the
really good.
Philippines or in the world?
I saw the top 10s of Philippines.
Okay.
I
In
didn't
the
see the
Philippines,
world
yeah.
ranked ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's
all
really
right.
good. It's
Well,
really good.
Who's the movie maker?
I don't know also because all the actors are new to me. Like I've never.
yeah.
Oh no! I'm sure you'll be very familiar with the guy who plays King Herod. Let me search his name.
Oh, here we
He's
go.
a famous actor. Like you've seen
also
him a lot.
don't know-
Yeah.
I don't know
Hold
anybody
on.
who played King Herod. What do you mean, Justine?
Here. Let me see.
You know what? This is probably just me, but I always get to suspect. I always suspect that something's amiss. That there's something wrong here. If I don't know anybody in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is
Like this was like some indie film.
What is this? No, I like indie films. You can understand because
Yeah.
there's like low quality, right? And then
Like
there
the way
are
it's told also is different.
actually big time actors or famous actors actually love to be in indie films.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they want some street credibility. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
They wanna show the world that they also will work with no money. You know what I mean? And then they end up getting other roles from that indie film. But when I see a movie and there's nobody I know, so who are these people?
who are you? Where did you come from?
Where did these people come from?
Just came
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah, I know.
So you've got to give me a name that I know, Justine.
Okay, I
Otherwise,
think-
I'm
All right,
never
here we
gonna
go,
watch
Okay,
it.
are you familiar with this actor?
Who is that?
Oh no! This one from Meet Joe Black and like
that's Anthony Quinn. That's no.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, you're
I
familiar
know,
with
I
him?
know
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins. So he
Okay.
starred in it.
So he's
So
yeah.
that's a big shot.
He
Hollywood
plays a
star.
yeah. He
Oh,
plays a big role. He plays King Herod apparently.
Nice. Okay. So there you go. Now I'm intrigued.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Here we go.
So
Okay,
far, those.
so what else did you
yeah.
do aside from watch a movie called Mary with a complete a big Hollywood star, not an unknown star?
Yeah,
in
Hollywood,
Anthony,
a big one, a big
Anthony
one.
Hopkins. I love Anthony Hopkins. I love the way he speaks.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
his accent, and he's just getting a little old, but I love Anthony.
He is getting old. I don't know if he was pretending to be way older in this film because he did act like someone who's really old, but then like his movements are a little bit.
He's British, right?
Yeah, British. Even in the film, he didn't
Okay.
lose the accent.
So what else did you do aside from watch?
Pretty much just
Mary?
that. Eat and then watch Mary. I slept all the way. Okay, so it's like Saturday evening till Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I woke up like maybe 11 a.m. now on Sunday. Then
Okay.
I cooked what humba.
Oh, here we go. That's good. That's
So Justine, tell me about your humba.
My humba
Yeah,
experience.
Here we go, here we
not,
go.
not your humba experience. Because you cook
Humba making experience.
So tell me
humba
about
cooking.
your philosophy of what the humba is.
So
What's a humba?
for-
How do you define a humba?
yeah, so like a lot of people would think it's similar with adobo.
Yeah.
But the big difference is that adobo has sabaw or like kind of like the
Sauce, you mean sauce?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
sa humba you let the sauce dry out and
Really now?
and
Because-
it has to be more of oil na lang and it has to be
Oh.
kind of sticky.
Oh.
Yeah, around the
So,
meat. So I feel like
a
it
humba is less saucy than a
definitely less saucy.
than an adobo.
Yeah, and then for adobo, you can have chicken with it. It's very rare that people have pork adobo, but for humba, it's mostly pork yun na siya
Yeah.
ang giuse, no?
Okay, okay.
So I remember it took me quite some time because
Okay.
then I was like, why isn't the soup going down?
Okay.
And so I had to like scoop out 2 bowls of the
Yeah.
sauce first and then wait for it to simmer
Tell me
down.
more. Tell me more. And
So
then-
yeah, it does take a lot of patience. And for my family who knows me, I usually, am impatient when it comes to cooking.
Yeah.
Are you like that too, Raj? Like,
So-
I won't wait.
So what were the ingredients involved?
All right.
Okay, so first we pressure cook the meat,
The meat,
to
okay.
make it soft.
Tender,
so
okay.
yeah, tenderize it, like pressure cook it for about 15 minutes. And what
Okay.
you add is just a little bit of water,
Okay.
and then star anise.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, like some spice.
Yeah.
It's
Spice,
in
yeah.
the shape of it, like a star.
Star.
Okay, and then bay leaf,
Okay.
and then pepper, oyster sauce, soy sauce, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Salt, and then later on I'll just add some. When it's time for the lapwa, or for the excuse me, the sauce to recede, and so that it becomes like really oily.
Okay.
I just add. Okay, I do add a little bit, not a little bit, a lot more oil.
Oh.
And then I'll add
What kind of oil do you use? if you don't
any
mind?
cooking oil lang.
Cooking
Like think
oil.
palm oil. That's what
Okay,
we use.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
So have you ever tried
Baby oil?
considering olive oil? Olive oil. Have you tried considering? using
olive oil is good. Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you tried that?
Yeah, but not
But-
not in like humba.
But I think it's gonna ruin the flavor, right? Because olive oil has got that
Has a distinct taste.
Yeah.
like a green herbally kind of taste, right?
Yeah, I
And-
think it's gonna taste different with
Okay.
humba na.
So what?
But yeah, I can imagine that with like pasta and other stuff,
so
but
you
not with
use
humba.
what kind of oil is that?
Palm oil.
Palm oil. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the worst possible oil next to trans fat, right? Next to
Worst?
Yeah. Ooh.
Is it the worst?
No,
I'm not
second
sure.
worst possible oil.
So the
is-
first, okay, the worst oil is
is actual oil from pork.
okay, and the
Oh,
next
lard
worst is
I-
palm.
I think it's palm oil.
Oh my goodness!
But that's the best to use for humba. So
Yeah.
again,
Okay,
continue,
okay.
Use palm oil.
You know what? Maybe I'll just switch it up next time to something like vegetable oil. Is that
Yeah.
healthier? Na lang,
Yeah.
no?
But
Okay.
Justin, you mentioned pepper. You put pepper, and then
Yeah.
I remember like having so much like trauma from accidentally eating that peppercorn in like any
That's
adobo or
traumatic.
humba. Yeah, you just take it, and then why is it all of a sudden spicy?
Okay, does it taste like humba? You're
Yeah.
eating
So
peppercorn.
you have like actual peppercorn.
Yeah, I do like
Yeah,
that. That's a
yeah.
good. That's a good point. I don't actually like using
The actual
kanang
peppercorn.
granulated
The
pepper.
granulated,
I'd
yeah.
prefer the actual peppercorns.
Why is that?
I feel like the flavor is more sipa, or it's
Yeah.
stronger with pepper. And I actually like that. I
Yeah.
like biting into peppercorns.
Really?
Like,
Really?
okay, not like
Wow.
eating it alone, but like when I eat something and there's a peppercorn taste, I
Okay,
actually like
okay.
it.
Ah,
Do you like
I see.
peppercorn or crushed pepper na?
It's too intense for me.
Oh,
I like
okay.
spicy stuff. I'm the kind of guy who loves wasabi.
Oh my.
I lather my sushi
With wasabi.
With wasabi, right? But in the case of peppercorn, when I mix it with the pork, right?
Yeah.
When I eat it, I think the flavor disappears because
Yeah.
it's too overwhelming. The kind of tastes of peppercorn, but that's just me, right?
Yeah. I think you and Raj can agree on that. Sometimes, but I do like the spices and I do like
Yeah.
tasting it. The star anise. Oh, I forgot to add garlic's important too. And that's pretty much it. And then what I did, it might seem like very sinful, no? So after you transfer the food to like a bowl,
Yeah.
right? So whatever's left on the pan, then I like put so much rice and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
made like humba rice.
Oh.
But it's like super oily. So yeah,
Oh my god, humba rice.
humba rice with oily na ganina humba rice pag yun.
Extra oil, extra
Yeah,
oil.
is that a very Pinoy thing or is it just me?
It is very Pinoy. Did
Very
you have,
Pinoy
like,
thing.
Okay.
Did you have like eggs?
Oh no, I didn't have
oh.
boiled eggs. No, you know what?
One of the
That's
best
what's
parts of humba,
Yeah,
yeah.
humba has boiled eggs
Yeah.
or quail eggs. Do
Yeah.
you guys put quail eggs?
Once you start feeling a little too guilty eating the fat from the pork, then you pivot to eggs, right?
The eggs na lang.
Just the
Oh.
eggs, so it's not that fatty.
Yeah.
But you know what, Justin? Every time I go to a carinderia, every time I go to a Filipino restaurant, my eyes always gravitate to humba.
Oh, humba
Oh.
first.
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
that's like my
Okay.
main dish. Like, how's the humba in this carinderia?
Okay. I want the walay humba. Walay humba, sir. Nahutdan mi,
ala.
sir.
No, I try to look for the next best thing, which is the
Adobo.
right?
Okay.
Speaking
Next.
of humba, I didn't know. Thanks to Bert, there's actually a song from Scrambled Eggs.
Called humba.
Humba.
Wow. Here we go.
Let's play it on
Scrambled
105
eggs.
on 105.1 TMC.
The best of us.
Let's go.
Perfect.
Oh, very ironic.
I know humba.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I don't know if you've heard these bands like Scrambled Eggs.
I've never heard of them.
Okay, that's normal. A lot of the Gen Z now and all of the kids haven't really heard of these. I'm always surprised. They have crazy names.
Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Maybe the next band will record corned beef.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I'm pretty sure that's a song called Corned Beef.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So how's school?
We were going to talk about bullying, but do you have any other topics there?
Bullying is good. Let's see, huh?
Do you have any other closer to the ground conversations?
Yeah, hold on. I had to do this. That's okay, no problem.
How did you get here, Raj? Did you get dropped?
Ano po, I was drove here by my parents, but
Okay.
then they said on the first day, that's it. You're gonna drive the next in the upcoming work
Okay,
direction.
but you know how? You don't have to drive.
That's why.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Just
Slowly lang.
yeah, a bit
But it's
scared
kind
now
of
going
crazy.
up. Yes. So
It's
it's
kind
scary.
of scary, especially when the weather when it's super bad.
Oh,
And the
boy.
weird thing about here is that it rains really hard, and then after a while it'll stop raining. So then, you know.
But I'm very excited for like what's to come here. It's very nice. I remember seeing you guys in like Instagram. Oh no, my gosh!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Miss Nargis is a jiggy.
I like how you used to call me Miss Nargis.
Uh,
Yeah, we're relatively new. Maybe September kami nag-start now. Yeah, so feel free to share your experiences. I think bullying is a good topic actually, Jiggy, for this morning since it's very fitting because we have like a young adult, a young adult with us.
Yeah, here we go.
So what are we talking about? Talk about bullying or we talk about something else?
I think bullying is okay. It's a good topic. Yeah.
Why are we talking about bullying?
Because we have someone in school pa, so I feel like it's very relatable for them. Were you ever bullied or were you the bully?
Oh.
That could be a good, yeah.
I think
so we
we
can
have,
ask our
yeah.
viewers to tell us any experiences if they've been, bullied. When do you consider it bullying and when is it just
That's a good one.
So
Sige.
go. And please play, guys, A Perfect Christmas by Jose Marie Chan. Hi, Jay Ardodin. By the way, we're live on YouTube now too, so right? So like, yeah. If you have family or friends, hi.
Hi guys. I don't know. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
They can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
They can hear from like
Listen to Waves by Justin Turbius. One of the
Promotion.
best songs ever played.
promotion.
105.1 TMC. That one was
Humba.
Humba
By
from
Scrambled
the
Eggs.
Scrambled
Thank you so much.
eggs.
Who's this? Who
Bert,
suggested it? Bert. Thank you, Bert.
Thank you so much, Bert.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Filipino songs are really crazy. They have the weirdest names, the funniest names. Scrambled eggs. Yeah, ang
Scrambled
song's
eggs.
called Humba.
Yeah, humba.
And we were kind of wondering why you didn't put any
Eggs.
eggs.
I
Eggs.
know. I
Oh my
forgot.
gosh,
Sus,
wow.
nako. That's what was missing actually. But my grandpa used to put quail eggs. I like quail eggs more.
quail
with
How,
eggs.
how about the one of the main characteristics of humba is its sweetness, right? And the sugar that you
Yes.
put. So what sort of sugar do you use and what level of sweetness do you have on your
I'll
on your humba? Unsa makatamis sa imong humba? Is it as sweet as dessert?
Oh no, not too sweet, because I like it peppery more than anything else. So I'd still put pepper more. It's like
Yeah.
the last thing I
So
put.
how much
pepper.
sugar do you put? And what kind of sugar do you use?
I use brown sugar, and then we
Okay.
put like
How much do you put?
2 tablespoons maybe.
Okay.
And then if the kulang pa, then maybe 1 more tablespoon. Or more or less 2 tablespoons. That's the trick.
Ang patis ba mo ay that gives the humba its
Sweetness.
brownish flavor look, or is it the sugar?
I think it's the
glaze,
toyo.
like a glazed look
Toyo,
ba?
yeah, the toyo.
It's got a-
Maybe all of that together.
Yeah.
The sugar, the toyo, and then also the oyster sauce. I
Okay,
put a little
okay.
bit of oyster sauce, and then I feel like that's what gives it the color
Yeah.
too. But actually, it's really waiting it out. Because at first I was
Waiting it out?
Yeah,
Waiting
I
it
was
out?
almost very.
What do you mean?
I was kind of discouraged at first. Kaya after pressure cooking, I would think that it would be brown ready.
Mm-hmm.
Di pa mawagi siya na brown. It was very pale. The meat was super pale, so I was
okay,
like,
yeah.
oh man, I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Okay.
But I waited another like 45 minutes and let it simmer,
Okay.
and then it became like the perfect brown.
Wow.
So the key to that, guys,
The perfect humba.
the
brown,
perfect,
perfect
kanang
humba.
humba color, you know.
Oh.
So then the
Do you have
idea to
do you have a
that.
photograph of it? No.
No,
Shame
sayang.
on- shame
And
on
we ate it all also, so there's
You know what?
there's nothing left na for
every
pictures.
time I go home, especially when I go to my folks' house in Guadalupe, right?
Yeah.
And the food is humba. I always say, "Oh no!"
Why no? It should be
what?
yes.
I always have a tendency to overeat when it's humba.
Oh, okay.
Understandable,
okay.
understandable.
I like it when I go to a carinderia, right? Because you have to have
You have to order again,
order,
man.
one
Yeah.
order lang, so it's too much effort to order one more. But in the house, like you have unlimited rice, unlimited humba. Oh no!
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So more like I tend to over consume my mom's.
Your mom's humba.
Because I love
Yeah.
it. And just like the ham question, ba, what kind of fat
Oh
to
my
unod
goodness.
ratio do you want? Like for my humba, I want it like 50-50 at least. It has to be
Oh,
like
yeah.
50% fat and 50% unod.
I think I'll have 70% meat and then 30% fat lang. Because it's too much. Like it's kind of it gets gross na for me. No, how about you, Raj? What's the ratio?
First of all, do you like humba?
Yes, I love humba.
Okay.
I would like
Yay.
99% meat.
A 99 all meat.
99% meat.
Okay.
99% meat.
And then just the fat for the flavor of the
Okay.
for whatever sabaw is left there.
Okay. So you're not so much into the fat
Yeah.
for humba.
Oh, no.
But other stuff, like we were talking about it a couple of days ago, Raj, how much we were talking about Christmas hams. And we were talking about how much percentage of fat and meat we want on the hams. For hams, it's another story though. Like I would like a little bit more fat.
More fat.
Yeah, maybe it's because wala man gud siya sabaw, but humba it's like it's covered in oil, so it does feel super sinful. Yeah, it's sweet pagid, so you already know there's sugar in there.
Ang akong problemang sa now we're talking about the problems of humba.
The problems of humba.
We and our first world problems, right?
Ay, nako. I'd love to have these problems.
Kanang humba usahay kung madugay na mugahi, di ba?
Yeah.
And I have that problem in carinderias because sometimes you don't know how many years, how many days, how many years the humba has been there, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
usahay like lami kita naon, tambo kita naon, pero kaning
1 year
When you
ago.
bite
pala.
into it,
1 year ago.
1 year na.
Gahi de kayo ikaw kaning when you put the pork in a pressure cooker, right? Does it is it tender like for a long period of time or mahurot na ng humba niyo? There's no more like tomorrow for your humba. It's like that's the last words of the humba is what is that again?
That's the last word of the humba. It is finished.
Okay.
No, we should say that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, from now on, what is it called?
Consumatum est.
Okay, I'm gonna say that after I eat humba. And
after
then,
eat humba.
kung wala na sudan, I'm gonna say that.
Consumatum
Consumatum est.
Is it tender for a longer period of time or no?
It doesn't get more tender. The thing
Okay.
about, like, what I like though when I make mga humba, mga adobo, kay the more bahaw it is, I feel like the flavors seep in. And
Yeah,
then
but it's also harder, right?
it gets harder lang. So when you cook it again, then you've got to add more water and then
Yeah,
retimpla it. So
yeah.
kapwe. Or like when you microwave it, you have to microwave it with a mug of water para
Yeah.
mahumok ang meat.
Okay.
But in general, mugahish after a while. So I wouldn't actually
What is that tip? I didn't get that, man.
to soften the microwave hack.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Kind of reminds
Okay.
me of the laplapan ang turkey to put it in the microwave. And for no apparent reason. But this
Teach us the secrets.
Okay,
Teach us
the secret.
Here we go.
This
here we
has
go.
actual utility.
Okay, guys, if you want to soften anything in the microwave,
Okay.
sometimes when you microwave rice, after
Okay.
a few minutes, mugahi na pod, mo dry na siya. If you microwave meat, then it becomes even more dry. If you microwave pizza, then it gets, or any sort of bread or dough,
Yeah.
it gets hard. So it's not, it only lasts for like a couple minutes while it's hot.
Okay.
So the technique to keep it soft, no, when you're microwaving anything, is to microwave it with a bowl of water. Or like a cup of water.
wow.
So
Maybe a mug of water
but you-
beside
you,
it.
You don't put the thing on the water
No,
No.
so for example, I'll have like a slice of pizza. Then beside it, I'll have a little bowl of water.
because
It'll keep it. Something happens, like it keeps it moist,
I have a question. So
like it's new.
it sort of seeps into the thing, right?
I think it steams it in a way like that. Like,
so how about
or I
if
don't
you
know.
put a little flavor on the water? Does it also contaminate the food?
that's
I
a good
don't.
question.
I
That's a
don't
good
think
question.
so.
we
Yeah.
should try that.
We should try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I started doing that with pizza at first because then I hate it. You microwave it and then after a couple minutes it gets hard. Like
Yeah.
it's only good for a couple minutes while
Yeah.
it's hot. But
Yeah.
then I found out about a hack and it works.
Okay, mayong bungkag
So
ni
guys,
Maria.
mao na siya guys.
Yes,
Alright.
and it's also matum. Was that?
Consumatum
Yes.
est.
That's the last word for humba.
Yeah.
Right?
Last thing we'll
'Cause
say.
I think if there's one topic that we are over talking about, it's humba, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We cannot.
So consumatum est on humba.
Can we
Yeah.
make sure, Justine and Raj, we don't talk about humba?
It is
Ever
finished.
again.
At least for the remainder of the year.
For
okay?
now, for now.
For now, okay?
For now.
So good morning, JR Doding Espinosa, Bert, and Boya 2008. Daghang salamat. You can join us
Hi guys.
in our
Hi, everyone.
conversation. My name is Jiggy Juice. This is Top of the Morning. Right across me is
My name is Justine Arvias and right beside me is
I'm Raj Sangerbil.
that's us. That's the Top of the Morning crew for this Monday, December 16, 2024. We are how many days? 9 days away
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
from you know what. Now we already asked. Nautanan ako ni Justin ani Raj, but how about you? What kind of preparations does Raj and family do for the season, for the holiday, for Christmas?
You know, recently we just we decided to get a new Christmas tree. Just like
A new Christmas
yes,
tree?
a new Christmas tree
Wow.
around a year ago because
How old is your old Christmas tree?
13 years old.
13.
Wow,
Yes.
almost as old as you.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Wow.
So we decided to
describe to us the old Christmas tree before we talk about the new Christmas
Well,
tree.
the old Christmas tree, I think, was about 10 feet tall.
Wow.
Okay.
And then, with so many memories in that Christmas tree.
So what did you do in that Christmas tree? Why are the memories in the Christmas tree?
Well, the reason why we had to get rid of it was because of Odette. So,
Okay,
Yeah,
the
so,
typhoon.
Yeah, so my family and I, we live on a hill in the subdivision. And while you're in the hill, you're like the most... you're like the number one target of the storm. So our house being 70% glass windows,
Wow. Okay.
everything was just destroyed. And with the Christmas tree, actually went like near the other lot, the other lot of the house. It flew.
So wait. That was
Oh,
Odette, right?
no.
This was like 5 years ago, Odette, right?
Yes, but yes.
So the Christmas tree remained even after Odette.
Yeah,
You still reused it.
Yeah, we reused it for like around 2 years. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
And then, but like my parents like it's
It's
just time to
old.
get a new one.
Okay.
So we decided to go unique, and we
Okay.
got an upside down Christmas tree.
Oh, I never heard of that.
So where did you get your upside down Christmas tree? What's the idea behind the upside down Christmas tree?
Just a new form of uniqueness. We decided to get
Okay.
SM Consolacion.
Okay.
And we saw it was just the shape of like an ice cream cone.
Okay.
But it's not like hanging from the ceiling or anything.
No,
like
it has like just strong foundation at the bottom.
and then it's
yes, it's
ice cream
popping
cone.
ice cream cone.
Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow. So
This-
what's the idea behind the upside down Christmas tree? Can you tell us?
I think it's just to add like a new spin of flavor to
Yeah.
whatever Christmas has right now.
So is the star on the bottom or is it
Oh,
on
good
top?
question.
Yeah, both. Both. One star at the bottom, and then if anyone's in the second floor who can see the top,
Okay.
we just put a star just in case.
Okay.
So what did you put in your inverted Christmas tree?
We just my mom likes to put uniform colors now, so it's just red and gold. It used to be everything blue, purple, but then
Ooh,
blue,
rainbow
purple, green.
tree.
But then we just decided to go
With a theme this time.
Yeah, themed SM themed.
S-
So we decided to put red and gold, and then just Merry Christmas on the side.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Very
And then the
interesting.
gifts would
Inverted
just be.
Christmas tree.
I can imagine. Are you guys gonna somehow find a way to suspend it in the air? And then,
that's a
place
good
it to the second
question.
floor, drop it from the second floor, siguro, no?
Yeah.
Upside down, man.
Yeah.
That's very unique. I've never actually. Okay, I think I've seen those on the internet, but I've never actually heard of anyone who's made use of a
Upside down
inverted or an
Christmas tree.
upside
Yeah.
down Christmas tree. You're the very first. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So what else does the San Gabriel family do in preparation for Christmas? Aside from the tree, do you have any other traditions? Anything else that you prepare?
Actually, just about I think 1 or 2 years ago, we just started to make a new tradition of learning to cook new foods.
Oh,
So like humba when we decided to cook new foods just last year, we learned how to make roast beef with mashed potatoes.
Wow, roast beef.
With
Oh
that
my goodness.
very thick gravy.
Wow,
and then
wow,
we
wow.
actually learned how we didn't like to buy that store-bought ham anymore, as you mentioned earlier. We
Okay.
decided to go homemade. So we bought this one pork belly, and then we decided to make ham. It's so
Jiggy, that's
good.
perfect because when we were talking about ham, a lot of our viewers, top of the morning to everyone listening to us right now,
Everyone?
they were mentioning a lot of the brands that they like, Pure Foods, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all the other kinds, kanang pear-shaped ham, and then the circular ones. And
Yes.
then me and Jiggy were looking for people who knows how to make like homemade
Ham, yeah.
Can you walk us through like how do
Oh,
we
here we
even
go.
where do we even begin?
What is your homemade
yeah, what
ham
is the San
secret?
Gabriel
Go on, tell us, man.
homemade ham?
I can't. It's a secret. okay.
Okay, ano na lang,
tell
from-
you, I
where do you
tell
start na lang?
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to kill,
Kill you. Or Men in Black have to erase your
no,
memory.
here we go. So, from what I remember, we have to mix pink salt with white salt, and then we have to coat it on the outside of the ham, and then like leave it for like overnight.
Okay.
And then that's
so it's like
what-
an entire leg or
Yeah,
how?
the whole thing just covered in salt.
Okay.
And then once it's like been fully coated with salt for like overnight, and then we remove majority of the salt so that obviously it's not salty, and then we add that sweet pineapple juice into the pot. We add the ham and we just let it ride, make sure it's soft, and so you have sweet and salty, the taste of pineapple on there with the mix of that pink Himalayan salt. Yeah, and then we just add some cherries on top, add some pineapple slices.
Cherries. Oh.
Yes, to add that just to add pizzazz to the way that the ham
Oh
looks.
yeah. And then how long do you leave it to roast?
How long
yeah.
but how long do you
How long do you do that thing?
cure it, right? Because sometimes it takes like
Oh yeah. You have
months
to
or-
put the first
and years,
let it
right?
sit in the sauce.
So the salt, it's It's just overnight. We just
Okay.
cook. We just do it
Salt
overnight.
overnight.
But then
Got it.
the I think the process. I forgot how long we had to cook it. I think it was over an hour.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't pressure cook it or anything. I think we had it boiled, and then we just had it a bit fried so that we can have that some like
Crispy?
crispy ends at the bit.
What do you mean? What do you mean a bit fry? You fry it for a little bit, like deep
Yeah.
fry it, or just
No, just fried like pan fried.
okay?
And then just to get some like those crispy bits at the end, and then just let it ride, and then just enjoy it with your family.
Oh.
Whoa, that is so cool.
That is your Christmas
Tradition.
secret, right?
Roast beef,
Kami,
Christmas sauce.
kami mamalit lagi Miss Hokshu.
Yeah. Oh, were you able to, by the
Yeah,
way?
of course, yeah,
Oh
of
my
course. Oh, there,
goodness.
yeah.
Have you tried that hokshu
I've
ham?
never heard.
You know,
It's a Chinese brand. It's really good.
I had my lunch with my folks last Sunday. Right, there's a new restaurant in Banawa called Kalipay. You should
Kalipay, wow.
Ooh,
Maybe
Kalipay.
we can talk about that. But we were talking about ham, and as it turns out, the Justin kanadeng hokshu ham is actually made in China.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, okay.
And the hokshu ham that we have here that's sold by La Nueva, my dad. This is my dad. I'm quoting my dad, so my dad
Okay.
could be wrong, but but he said, dili ko na original. This is not from China. Hinimo ora na nila diri
Here.
here in the
Okay.
Philippines. So that's not the original ham. So how did he know that? I asked him, of course, because I'm always the why guy, right?
Yes.
What was he saying?
Yeah, he said nga, kay nakatilaw ko sa original gyud nga ham. Gikan gyud sa China.
Ooh.
Lahi ra gyud ko, no?
Where did he try it, man?
Because
How did he get to try it?
this is actually an old tradition from my grandfather nga mukaon mo magpalit sila og kaning hokshu ham during Christmas during the holidays. So lahi ra gyud ko no ang taste ko no sa
Okay.
original hokshu ham nga gihimo gyud sa China o kaning gihimo nila sa La Nueva. But this is
Where can we get the China one?
But this comes close. But this comes close now.
Okay,
But
close
it's
na.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's good enough, but it's not really the way it tastes like. Where can you get the original? I think you gotta get it from China.
So your dad was able to try the original, like
yes.
the China
Yeah.
one. Good.
Yeah, the China one.
Wow, that's so
But
cool.
just to get, you have to travel to China
Yeah,
just
I
to get
guess
the best ham.
I'm gonna bring home like a whole box of ham. Good.
The problem with it, China is like a huge country, right? So you don't know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
But you look for that. I think Hokshu is not a brand, but I could be wrong again. Which I always am.
Maybe it's a kind.
It's actually the way you make a ham.
Oh.
I see.
Hokshu way or something like that.
Okay, the hokshu way.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It is now exactly 10 o'clock. We're going to get to our actual topic in a few moments.
Yeah.
Because we've been
Yay.
talking about Hokshu ham.
And humba. Oh my
But,
goodness.
we're going to talk about something real serious.
Yes.
It's bullying, right? Bullying.
Yeah.
And why bullying exists, and are you a bully, or have you been bullied? How
Kana.
do you even define
Bullying.
bullying? What is that?
Yeah.
Because that's a relatively new word, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who was the first bully?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Who was the first bully?
I guess you could say like the first bully was the one who killed his own brother Cain and Abel.
Kana, he is the bully.
He is the
Maybe,
real
maybe.
bully. Maybe.
Or is the snake a bully? Kay gisungog niya ang ano.
true.
Okay, we'll define bully in more realistic terms. Coming up.
Actually, I was in the Tops Fest, art fest earlier.
Cool, he was here.
I was here on the second day.
Are you here to join or?
Yeah, I know. Just
watch
to,
that?
it was a school field trip.
Okay.
Wow.
So I just used that for my portfolio to send to school, and that was my performance fest.
Wow, cool. At least you guys have outside of school trips. Very fitting.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
105.1 TMC Pasko ng Kalipay sa mga siloy mo ng mga awit na nakataak,
Mga bahandi.
mga binisayang o bisayang bahandi
Yeah.
nga nalimta na sa panahon.
Yeah. It sounds a lot like Kasadya
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Or is it just me? It sounds like a Kasadya remix.
Yeah, the vibe. It's a Christmas vibe. Right?
Yeah.
Atong tak na karon 9 minutos nang nilabay sa alas 10. We have so the top of the morning family is just getting bigger and bigger. We have my name is Jiggy Juice.
And me, my name is Jessie Narvias, and beside me, I have...
Hello everyone, I'm Raj San Gabriel.
And this morning we are going to talk about bullying.
Tan-tan.
Bullying is very prevalent in schools, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's been existing for a
And
long time.
And it's usually in the context of schools, but bullying is not exclusive to schools.
schools,
right?
yeah,
Anybody can
exactly.
be bullied at any age, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even nations can bully other nations.
That's
You know what I
100% true.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe first and foremost, before we go in depth in the topic of bullying, we have to define the terms because mo gina pinaka-importante before ka maglalis, before ka magdebate, before ka maghisgot ug butang, you have to set the parameters, right?
Yeah.
You have to set the sort of like the
definition.
the
Standards.
definitions, the standards of the conversation. So unsa man ginang bullying? How do you define bullying, Justin? Unsa man ang bullying for you?
Bullying for me is when you attempt to harm someone physically or emotionally,
Okay.
in any way, or you want to make someone feel less of themselves or make them feel.
Harm.
So yeah, harm physically or
Yeah.
emotionally.
Okay.
I would just say it as that.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So that word harm again has already been exported because it's usually before in its original word was just used for physical harm, right? But now it
Yeah.
has been used
Yeah.
to emotional
For
harm.
emotional
right?
harm.
Emotional.
So
Yeah.
what do you mean by harm? What does that mean when you say somebody harmed you emotionally? What does that mean? And yeah, maybe you should define that.
Okay, so I think harming someone emotionally has something to do with making them feel bad, and then we'd have to define what does bad really mean, right?
What do you mean? Like you make me feel bad.
So I think
I did
it's-
not get a chance to eat your humba. So are you bullying me now?
Allah.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Allah.
I think when you intimidate or when you
I'm intimidated by your presence. Are you intimidating me? It's not your deliberate.
yeah,
I feel threatened.
yeah. What does
So
it mean?
That's
Okay.
another word,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So,
So-
maybe I would say I would just describe it as when there's this negative emotional, like when you, yeah, because then negative emotions could be like it could be self-induced, like
Yeah.
it could be like you weren't necessarily bullied, but
So are we talking about bullying? Is the world talking about bullying without even understanding what it means?
Yeah.
How about you, Raj? What do you think? What is bullying? What does that actually mean when somebody is bullying somebody?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have like same definition as Justine. Like you're like hurting them emotionally, physically as well. But then like I also see it as a way like you make them feel threatened or scared in the inside.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Scared
Like
is good.
you make them feel like unable to do things. Like
You're paralyzed,
yeah
right?
you make them reach their breaking point.
Okay,
So,
that's a
yeah.
good point. No, so it's like
You make them reach
their
your breaking point.
So that means you're persistent and you're really pushing it to the limit, no?
Okay.
To be sure, I'm checking like
Yeah. Maybe
definitions.
You can look for the Wikipedia, Google definition.
Yeah. So
of
Wikipedia
what bullying is.
says bullying is when you seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. And
Someone perceived as vulnerable.
So maybe it has to do with that power dynamics also.
Yeah.
You need a bully is considered a bully if through power dynamics they're more
Maybe the higher position, right?
They're in a higher
Yes,
position.
yes.
They're not as vulnerable as the bullied
Okay.
or the person who was bullied, no?
Okay.
And in also looking at this website called stopbullying.gov, it's literally a website dedicated to that. But it says here that bullying is unwanted Okay, number one, unwanted. That's a good not to define.
Unwanted.
Okay, unwanted.
Unwanted aggressive behavior. So it involves real or perceived power imbalance.
Unwanted aggressive behavior.
Yeah, involving real
Wait,
or
hold on.
perceived.
Unwanted aggressive behavior
Yeah.
from somebody else.
From somebody
Yeah,
else.
from somebody
that
else.
involves
Okay.
a real or perceived power imbalance. Oh,
Okay.
okay. So then that makes sense, no? That
So unwanted means that there's a wanted and aggressive behavior that you like, right? So for example,
okay.
Ooh, that's
I
good.
don't want this aggressive behavior. Then it's bullying. But what if I want this aggressive behavior? So
Then it wouldn't be counted
So
as
it wouldn't
bullying.
be counted as
siguro.
bullying.
It's not bullying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to want it to not be bullying for the
For it to be
for
considered.
that definition.
Yeah,
no,
for this
I'm trying
definition.
to analyze that definition. Yeah.
So then it has to be unwelcomed. It has to
Yeah.
be in a way you don't really accept it, or maybe you pretend to accept it, but deep inside you're uncomfortable
Yeah.
with it. Then it would be considered as
Bullying,
bullying.
okay.
So if you're okay with it, then
It's not bullying.
technically it's not bullying by this definition.
Yes, yeah.
What do you
Right?
think, what do you think?
Ikaw,
of that?
Raj, what do you
What do you think
think?
of that definition?
I think that
The
yeah,
Wikipedia, Google definition of bullying.
yeah, I think like that pretty much sums it up because like they're like with friends or with family you joke around you like you like in that table and then like all of a sudden your auntie, hey, you've been looking kind of big today, this year.
Your auntie.
Yeah, your auntie just talks
Oh
to you.
my goodness.
And then like
So that's not bullying. But
For the way,
Sounds like it's bullying.
it sounds like bullying.
Like a mild bullying because it's from your auntie.
Yeah, like it could be unwanted, but like there are some people who see it as like tough love.
Yeah.
Bitaw.
Yeah.
Labi na with our Filipino culture, I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate to this. Hilig man gud ta magsaway-saway, binuang ba? You know,
Binuang adang tinuod.
that's the thing said, no?
That's a very Filipino thing
Like
too.
that's how we greet each other most of the time. Like some people, their nicknames will stick until adulthood, and it's just a thing. Like bullying is part for not the extreme, no, but for a lot of people, bullying is a part of their more how they show love in their family, how they bond in a way.
But
no,
I think you're using the wrong definition.
yeah.
You're using the wrong word to grow because
Yeah.
if bullying was such a prevalent thing, then how did it become a bad thing?
Yeah,
right?
why is it discouraged?
Bullying has got to be something else more than just the way we talk to each other. It's got to be
Family.
deeper than that, right? So I
Yeah.
think the definition of what's that? Google.
Yeah.
Wikipedia definition. Can you repeat that if you don't mind, Justine?
Okay.
The definition of what bullying is, because what we're going to talk about today is: have you ever been bullied, or are you the
bully?
You don't even know that you're the bully.
Kana.
Yeah.
What if? Okay, so according to Wikipedia, bullying is when you seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. So again, to seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. So I didn't think about that there has to be this power dynamic nga you have to feel like this person is lower than you para kung sa binisaya pa ba kaya-kaya ra nimo because this person is lower than you. And you'd ask the question, lower in what way? In rank or what? Like,
So
wala lang.
how is it that in a school environment bullying is very prevalent? Aren't you all the same students?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's the teacher that bullies the student, then by that definition, then that can be bullying. But what if it's just a fellow classmate,
Yeah.
a contemporary, somebody who's old as you? Maybe so. How can there be a bullying dynamic here now? You, I know, have experienced bullying, right, Raj?
Yes, well.
And this was from among your peers, your classmates, right?
Yeah, yes.
So, where does the definition go wrong when there's supposed to be like a power dynamic involved, when there's supposed to be like somebody who's got more power than you and has a
Kung classmates mo.
kung di mo classmates, kung maestra mo, then bullying na siya.
Because
Pero kung
technically by rank.
by rank, but when your peers, when your classmates, where does
How does it work?
How does bullying work?
How does bullying work? Well, like I'm pretty sure like what Ate Justine mentioned, it's like those unwanted things that you weren't expecting to hear from friends. Like of course there's always those jokes like teasing them with your crush or like just trying to trying to push them. Uy, someone ka nandiyan sa like that, and then like but there are also sometimes where like even the teasing, that's something that looks as innocent as teasing or like just a simple joke, for some reason are like some people do not want it. Yeah,
Okay.
like they see it as bullying as well, and I think that's just the way that I see it. Yeah.
Okay. Because of your closeness in a relationship, you can tease each other.
Yeah.
So it happens among people on your level, your peers, because sometimes bullying is disguised with jokes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about like backhanded compliments. Kung migo kayo mo.
Again, you're defining that thing again as bullying, right? You said jokes.
Oh, okay.
There are jokes that we can take, and then that bullying we can take, but
Some
bullying we can't
jokes,
take, right?
yeah.
So I guess we shouldn't define those as bullying, right? Or are they still a form of bullying, but a milder degree? Therefore, it's not a.
There could be levels. There could be levels.
Yeah, I think there are
bullying is
levels.
like a spectrum. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Is,
Yeah.
is this where we're
Yeah.
coming? Diri na ta padung nga kani atong bullying na bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Actually-
different kinds of levels. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
there's
it's a
good-
spectrum,
is there
definitely.
Good bullying and bad bullying.
I think personally,
That got me thinking.
Personally, I think all bullying is
Is
bad.
okay.
But there are this levels to it, like depending on like the kind of bullying.
Okay.
So I think it would really
So
depend.
tough love dili na bullying. Does that depend on the intention also?
I would like to rule it out now.
Yeah.
I'd like to rule it out. Like kanang teasing sa mong family, I would like to rule it out as dili na siya counted
Dili
as
na siya
He's not
bullying.
family, and I just say something so that I want to change him for the better. For example, that's just still kind of. I think tough love can't just be exclusive to family
Yeah.
men.
Okay.
What-
Constructive
what-
criticism.
Yeah,
probably?
yeah. That's another way of saying it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
I think
how does that work now when the dynamics are different when you parehara mo edad, parehara mo eskwelahan, like so it becomes bullying because you're uncomfortable with nam gyo sa go nakita we're sensitive to certain things, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe
so. Then it's about us also, the receiver.
Maybe gisugsog ka nako and all of these things you just let it slide because you're fine with the sugsog,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Like it's but when you hit a chord, when you hit a nerve,
Yes.
right? And that this thing that maybe like a previous trauma, for example, gisugsog ka na niya, then you explode,
Oh,
Yeah.
So
So I think it also has to do with perception of the one who is being bullied.
Yeah.
No, it's
And
what you
also
can
you-
tolerate. So
yeah.
that's why some forms of bullying is tolerable, I think, for a lot of people. Like they can perceive it lang as Raj mentioned,
Yeah.
tough love or jokes. But then sometimes I feel like there's this gut feel that a lot of people have, or maybe they're just able to take note of that like social cue of when a compliment or a joke, they can feel like there's like an ill intention behind it, and it feels like murag di lagi to nindot yang ingon da. Do you ever get that feeling, Jiggy and Raj? Like sometimes you'll have this conversation with someone and then they'll say a lot about what's going on and like that, and then when they give a comment to you, although you would like as much as possible to believe that it's from good intentions because they're a close friend or something like that.
Yes, yes.
But it doesn't feel right. Like something's off. Like it
I
feels
see.
like, diba? What do you think about that?
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure by the way that they explain, or like let's say they give you that kind of criticism or let's say compliment, you could tell like if it depends on how close you are with that person.
Okay, number one, how
Yeah,
close?
How close you are with that person.
Okay.
And then of course, like by the way that they relay it to you.
Okay.
By the way they relate.
Relay.
Or the way that they
Okay.
execute the comment /
Okay.
tough love, whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So give me,
Okay, that's great.
Maybe we can give maybe mahisgot ani by way of examples, right? Kaya importante man. So what thing would somebody tell you the same words, the same context, but said differently, like because you said the way they said it to you. So maybe you can give me an example if you don't mind.
Okay.
Like kanang gusto ka butang pareha ang content sa words in terms of the message, but said differently. Like from another person, maybe compare it with a family member.
yes. And then
Just
someone
like
outside.
like a classmate, for example.
Okay. So maybe let's say you got this new polo shirt, right?
Okay.
New shirt.
You got
New
a new
shirt.
shirt, and then
Okay.
you think you look good, and you look at the fitting room, you look at the mirror, and say, "Yes, I'm gonna
It
rock
looks
the
nice.
world when I wear the shirt."
Okay.
And then so like you're about to go to work, you're wearing that shirt, and you're about to leave. Your mom says, "So the first
Dong, unsa man imong t-shirt, dong?
okay, the first scenario is like, "Uy, that you're wearing that?" And then the other one goes like, "Hey, son, you would actually look really good in this other shirt."
Okay.
So I think
So your mom just told you, you're wearing that?
you're wearing that
Okay.
shirt.
And then let's move to the classroom setting now. If somebody, or maybe workplace, right? So somebody is wearing the same shirt. Maybe let's just for this example, you now you go to work, right? And since there's a power dynamics involved, maybe your boss tells you, "What? You're wearing that?" So is that bullying?
If you think it's bullying, then it's probably bullying to you.
To you.
To you.
Okay.
So if you think it's bullying, then it's bullying.
Probably to
Yeah,
you.
but they're like other people can also see it like not bullying as well.
Okay.
Like that's actually what makes other people overthink.
Okay.
Like oh no, like boss said that my shirt was like this, and then people like let's say your friends say, hey, maybe you're just overthinking it.
Yeah.
That's probably what like the number one thing that leads people to overthink and like
okay,
let's say
okay.
love life or like in work right now when they talk to their boss, they just the way that the compliment / comment is executed or relate to the person, that's what makes people overthink.
Okay. So from that, Jiggy and Rajba, what I gathered so far was that to be able to identify when a comment or anything at all, a gesture, whatever, is bullying or not, the parameters that we set is what's your relationship with this person that says the comment?
Yeah.
Kinsa man gyud ni siya. If this is someone that you respect and that you know has like a positive influence in your life, that is supposed to have a good influence in your life, your parents, your boss, for example, a mentor, something like even your classmates, then that would make all the difference. That's a circumstance that would kanang justify or somehow kanang justify the bullying or murag you can set the parameters if it's bullying or not based on that number one criteria.
Your relationship with the person.
Relationship. That's the first competency. Bale.
Your relationship with the person.
Yeah, your relationship. Who
with
is
the
this person to you?
Okay.
And secondly, it would also be the manner in which that they convey that gesture or that that gesture or that what they wanted to tell you. Was it disrespectful? Was it in a way seen as criticism? Was it coming from a place of criticism? No, so that's external. That's not the way that they deliver that message is external to you because that's how they chose to deliver it.
That's their mode of communication.
Mode of communication. Number 3, I would say, is internal. It's about how you perceive it. Na kay bisag, you know what? I feel like no matter how nicely put compliments are, if somebody would compliment you in the best way and tied up with a ribbon, it's so nice, so flowery and all that. If you don't receive it well, then it's also gonna be a you problem. Like maybe sa imo ha bullying ra.
Have you ever heard of the insult sounding compliment?
Kanang backhanded compliment.
Insult sounding compliment or a compliment sounding insult, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one of them was.
That's one of them.
I think one of them, like, I never got to fully encapsulate what it means. Like, I remember one person said to like my one person said to my sister, "Hey, you know what? You look really, really pretty without makeup." So that got me thinking. Wait. Okay.
What are you saying?
That's natural beauty. So are you saying she looks really ugly when she puts
Wears
makeup?
makeup?
So like, what's going on here?
No, you look really pretty without makeup. That's a good one. Jiggy, have you heard of a compliment? Nga murag dili compliment?
Yeah.
Can you think of something
Yes,
like?
I remember. This is a very, very interesting memory.
Hilig kay ta no kaning mga Pinoy.
Very interesting memory of mine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, stop that. Okay, I remember. I'm talking about a high school memory, right?
Okay, high school.
High school ni siya. I remember. I was sitting with this classmate of mine, a female girl. I think her name was Jane. I forget now.
Jane?
Anyway, she said, "You know what? If you didn't have pimples and you'd be less dark and a little bit tall,
Who says that?
and a little bit taller, you'd be like a hunk of burning leaf. You'd be like an actor. You should be an actor."
Oh wow.
Okay, first of all, the kanan niya gisaway Jiggy,
So
no?
because I had pimples and
Like every other teenager.
I'm like kind of moreno, right, and all of that stuff.
Dark-skinned,
And,
okay.
I'm kind of short and all that stuff. So she told me that you'd be like a good actor. You'd be like a star. So I was like,
What
so what was that, man?
This is like your what if.
Should I
if?
feel good about that? Because she thinks I should be an actor, but I should have no pimples.
No pimples,
Lighter
skin,
skin,
and be
and a bit
taller.
taller.
That's an example of
Oh
an
my
insult sounding
goodness.
compliment.
Yeah. That's crazy. I remember also some.
How about you, Jess? Have you ever nakadungog na ka og
Yeah.
kanang compliment nga gidaig ka pero insulto di ito?
Yeah. Like I forgot who said it before. Like when you're a kid and you magdakpanay mo and then you're-
Magdakop-dakop.
Dakop. Yeah, and then a friend tells you like, "Oh, you're pretty fast for a girl."
Oh no.
Like, huh? So are the girls supposed to be slow at running? Hello, you're pretty fast for a girl. She's fast even though she's a girl. Like,
Wow.
huh? So
In case you're wondering what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, itong hisgutan ko ng buntaga is bullying. Have you ever been bullied? Or are you the bully or the bullier?
Jiggy, na-comment diri.
Okay, come on.
I think you should read it from Joel Lim, where he answered our question.
It matches so well with the
Matches.
the
Top of
topic.
the morning. Now give me your lunch money.
I think we're being bullied, Jiggy. Gosh, we're being bullied on top of the morning.
Oh no. So yes. Have you ever been bullied or are you the bully? Text us 0999 887-6070. Maghisgot og bullying kanang buntag. Unsa binisaya ng bullying? Wala gali na.
There's no Bisaya word,
Wala
right?
gani equivalent, right? Maybe there is, but we have to look for it, right?
Let me
Yeah.
check the Google
So,
Translate
so
right now.
you can join us on the chats at Tops Media Center on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Join us
Eyo.
in our conversation about bullying. You know what? I was thinking about it, but like I always do. It's hard to
Like
be me.
I always do.
Kaning magong when I try to look at when I macro it, but when I try to look at the big picture, I think we're talking about power dynamics and all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right? I think bullying is really about competition.
Okay.
Oh, I do see that. I
It's
do see
really
that.
about succeeding in whatever environment, in the classroom environment, in the real world, between nations. We're trying to
okay.
muscle our way to the top, right? So,
So who's more intimidating? Who's more?
That's where bullying comes from. In fact, in a way, bullying is actually rewarded sometimes. It's the bully that succeeds, right? It's the person, it's the company that gobbles up the smaller companies and bullies them, and then becomes successful, right? So that's for me the main dynamic of what bullying is. If you look at the big picture,
It's competition.
it's really
Competition.
about competition. What do you think of that?
Trying to go on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually see like you see like in those high school movies, you see this one big jock always picking on that one nerd who has all the pimples, fraily skin,
yeah.
and then they're just basically saying, "Hey, I'm so much better than you. I have the hot girlfriend. I have the muscled body.
Yeah.
I am the captain of
the
the
football
football team."
team.
Exactly.
It's always football.
So I am way better than you in that.
Yeah.
But like if the nerd were to like retaliate, "Hey, I'm better than you in chess."
I'm better than you in schoolwork.
Yeah.
So then,
but it's the nerds who rule the world
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
nowadays, yes. Our trifecta, sila Jeff Bezos and Elon
Mark
Musk and Mark
Zuckerberg,
Zuckerberg.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
But in that sense, I think, just picking up from what Raj says, no, and from what you're saying, Jiggy,
Okay.
it's a sense of competition. Okay, maybe you would wonder ba, kaning bully, he had, and like let's put it in the context of the films, na lang, para it's
Yeah.
easier to digest. And those kinds of films were in.
And identities will be kept. So we can't have. We don't name the actual people.
yes,
in order to
where it's not a
DiCaprio.
real life situation.
So we don't get sued.
Yeah, I think it would make a little bit more sense if we did it like in that scale first.
Okay.
So in films, for example, wherein there's a jock, the jock basically has in his world
Yes.
everything, right?
The looks.
He has the looks, the hot girlfriend, the all the friends,
talent,
the talent.
Yep,
Everyone
yep.
wants to go to his house party. Everyone wants to be his friend. Pero why does he still feel the need to pick on the nerd, diba? We have to ask that question. Somebody na as a nerd. What is the competition?
Because he can.
Because he can.
Because
Because he can.
Pero what is he competing with? If we're gonna look at your definition as to bullying is analogous to like competing.
He
What
just
is
wants to like a power dynamic.
kana?
Yeah,
There's a power
power
dynamic.
dynamic,
Yeah.
Like-
He wants
like-
to assert
Yeah,
his dominance.
Assert his dominance.
Nga
So-
ako ang kusog.
Yeah,
Ako
so,
ang,
so
you know.
companies want to be bigger, right?
Yeah.
They want to stop the competition before it starts, right? So they bully everybody. So they become this big company, right?
They
This
wanna
behemoth.
let everyone know who they are.
Yeah, who they are, right? So for example, they sue the smaller companies and all of that stuff. So that's really exactly the same.
Even
It's
before
exactly the same.
I like what
Yeah.
you mentioned, even before the competition starts. So sometimes for a bully, you don't necessarily have to be a threat. It can be, I just bully because I can.
Yeah.
Kaya
Yeah.
ganan man ko. Kaya I can man.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that the nerd mismo poses as a threat to the bully.
Actually,
no?
they probably do because they know that the
Mas
nerd
bright.
is smarter than them, right?
Yeah.
And they can
Right,
finish
right,
all their homework
so,
for them.
So let's just, for example, let's just say Facebook, for example. It's for
Okay.
I know Mark Zuckerberg listens to us every now and then.
Yes,
but
our alien overlord.
Did it get me? Like, only I think on Mondays. I think so. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Facebook, for example. Right?
Follow me, Mark.
So, Facebook is now the jock, right?
Okay, Facebook is the jock.
Facebook's the jock.
Got it.
So they see those smaller, with a million followers, social media platforms, right? They're not intimidated. They're not intimidated by that because these are the smaller ones, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But they probably think, hey, what if they come up with something that we never saw
Yeah.
because we're so big, right? And
Oh,
that's
that's
usually
true,
the
that's
problem
true.
of big companies. They don't see their competitors coming. They don't see them because they're too big to notice the small ones. So the same way as a jock getting scared of the nerd, they're probably scared. They're probably insecure about what the nerd
Secretly,
knows.
deep
Yeah.
inside.
Secretly
That's why
knows,
they're
yeah.
bullying them. I think so because,
To make them reach their breaking point.
yeah.
Okay, that's also another point to consider to make them reach their
Because eskwelahan mo
breaking
ng
point.
setting ng nerd good, di ba?
Yeah.
So they know that they're not smart. Jocks don't know that they're so they know.
As smart as that
Yeah,
person,
they know nga the nerd knows more than
them. So the
that's
nerd
when they
poses as
bully
a
them.
threat,
Yes.
no?
Exactly
Ah,
the same.
wow.
So the nerd must know who I am. Like I need to reassert that nga I'm the big guy here. I'm the
Well,
I'm the
nobody's
one
the
to
big
be.
guy here, supposedly. Ideally,
Oh.
nobody's the big guy. Everybody's the same, right? Right.
Yeah, supposedly. But to a bully, I suppose they don't see that. I don't think bullies see everyone as the same.
Yeah, but
Like,
correct. Yeah,
So they do
absolutely
see
correct.
like they have to keep reasserting and keep putting their foot forward. Ako gid ang una. Something like
How
that.
about you guys? What do you think of this conversation? And have you ever been bullied, or are you the bully?
Kana.
Let us know. Text us 0999-8876-070, or you can join us on the chats at Tops Media Center. How about you, Justin?
And it could be the most lingaw stories, guys.
Yeah,
Like it
yes,
could be
yeah.
like something
It could
funny
be nothing.
lang
It
or
could be nothing,
ana.
right? You
You know,
thought it
just
was
chika
bullying.
chikas.
How about
as
you? Have
we
you
use.
ever been bullied, Justin, or are you the
Oh
bullier?
my.
Uh-oh.
Or are you the bully? Come
I
on, tell
think
us, man.
there have been times where when I was younger, that I bullied someone.
Really? Now, tell me about your
and
bullying
then but we're
experience.
really good friends now. I remember
Okay.
there was a time I apologized to my friend when I was like in grade school,
Okay.
and then we became really close friends even until now.
Okay.
And then he's in the States now. Hi, Seamus. If
Maybe
you're,
that's
if you're
why she left.
Oh,
Maybe
it's a
she
he.
to avoid you two completely.
Maybe, you know? Maybe. Seamus, I'm sorry. But me and Seamus, we're still good friends now,
Okay,
and we
okay.
still communicate. And I remember when we were younger, he was already a little bit more feminine than most guys. And then as a kid, I think I was very tactless, and I might have said it in a way that was like bullying, because I didn't understand, that people could be that way, that there are some guys who act a little bit more feminine, and that when they grow older they might somehow change their sexuality, and then you shouldn't be like kanang too close-minded about that in a way
Yeah.
that, especially to a kid, we were literally just kids.
Yes.
But then me being tactless,
What did you tell him, man? Or
I don't know. I think I told him like, what? I think I saway the way he's acting. I was like, why do you act like that? Why do you talk so much? I was like, you're not a girl. Why are you so talkative? I think I said something like that.
You're not a girl. Why are you so talkative?
Which then it's worse.
It's similar to what your friend
Said to
about,
me.
Yeah. About you.
So then-
why you're not running so fast? You run
Exactly.
like whatever, right?
No, you're fast for a girl. So then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
double. I'm hitting. It's even worse. I was bullying that friend.
Okay.
And then I'm putting down girls for being talkative, as if I'm only
Like as if talking is just for
being
girls,
talkative
right?
is only for girls, for example. So that was really bad. And I remember
So-
when we got close, I realized that was mean.
Let's go back to that moment
Yeah.
first, okay? So
Like, why are you so talkative?
Why are you so
Yeah.
talkative? You're not a girl. What happened then? What happened? So did she, or rather he,
Yeah.
lodge a complaint? Did he make a big deal out of it? How did
No, he
How did
didn't.
you know that was bullying?
I just felt like it was wrong in a way, and then I remember it just felt weird though. I think he didn't say anything. I think he would just feel bad. No, you know what? I think there were some times that he cried about it.
Oh.
my
Yeah,
God. Oh
and
my God.
and then I think I wasn't even empathetic when he cried before. I used to be like, "Why is he crying?" You know those kinds of kids, and then you'd call other kids and be like, "Why is he crying?" So, oh my goodness,
Not just this big group of kids. Like,
why is he? I was one of those kids like who has no social
So
cues.
he would cry thinking about what you said like days ago.
No, I think I would probably be knowing myself, Jiggy, ha?
Ibalik-balik.
I don't think I said it once. I think I probably kept saying it until he cried. I kept probably like, why is he? And then probably be like, hey, why is he? Call my classmates and be like, why is he crying? So, I'm so instigator.
You're such a bully,
I
Justin.
know.
I just realized
I feel
that you're
so
such a
bad.
bully,
That was so
man.
mean.
You're such a mean person,
So
Justin.
that I feel like, so that's why when I saw our question karon guys sa honest site at Sugbuba, have you ever been bullied, or like have you been the bully? Makaingon gid ko at some points, most points of my life, I think I have been the bully because I feel like I'm an instigator, and then at that time I'm just so ratatatat, and then it pushed them to their breaking point. But thankfully, me and Seamus are good friends now, and
So-
I hope he forgives me, and
So
that's
you-
not the reason why he left.
So you did acknowledge nga, you were bullying him.
Yeah, like after a while when we became close friends, I realized, that was so mean. You don't have to speak that way to anyone. You don't have to like push them and balik-balik kag until they cry. So that was mean. That was bullying.
What do you think of that situation, Raj?
Am I a bully, Raj? Oh no.
no comment, because I don't want to get hit.
No, but like,
don't want to get hit? What do you mean? No,
I don't want my lunch money taken away.
now
Yeah.
you're scared of the bully who is Justine.
yeah, later
Because you-
when the show ends, I'll atang Raj in the
Because
corner.
you don't want to say anything bad to her.
Ay.
Yes.
No, but is it is it bullying technically? If
Well, like mentioned, it's also by the way that the person perceives it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because as you can see, I'm sorry, Seamus, right?
Yeah, Seamus, my friend.
Seamus. All of a sudden
That's a name.
started to cry because of the comments that. So like internally, they're feeling, oh, is this what my friend Justine thinks of me?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this what?
And the worst
yeah.
thing, oh my goodness, I just remembered now that makes it worse. He was a new kid.
Oh no!
That's
new
even
student pa. Oh,
worse.
no.
That's even worse. I felt so
I have
bad.
a text here from Rhino of Lapu-Lapu. It's
Hi,
power.
Rhino.
It's power tripping.
What's up, Ryan?
Twisted way of self-validation that they are more superior.
Kana.
Feeds their ego, their narcissistic ego. So that's what bullying to Rhino of Lapu-Lapu is.
It's ironic, no, how bullies, but if they're narcissistic, like
Bullies
they have
like
so
you. You have to say that. It's strange. No,
like
bullies
me
like
in the
me.
past.
Okay.
No, like for them to feed their ego, for example, no, like you would think that they've got so much self-confidence, but behind all that, it's actually probably just a curtain. Maybe they don't, or maybe they just feel like because they can, no, that they'll I can because I can. I'll just do it, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's what
Yeah.
what happened to me.
What do you think, Raj?
Ikaw, Raj, what's your experience, or like, have you ever been bullied, or were you the bully?
Okay, I'm gonna be the same as Ate Justin here. I've experienced both.
Okay.
There's this one person in my class. Honestly, I'm glad that we're still good friends until now. I just
Okay.
want to shout out to my friend Angelico back in Ateneo. And
Hi, Angelico.
I just want to say there were times where okay, so in people they have their strengths and they also have their weaknesses.
Yeah.
And
That's everybody.
Yeah, that's
Everyone.
everybody.
That's a universal truth,
Yes.
I think.
Yes. And with Angelico, his strengths in what I know his strength was anything that had to do with war.
War.
Like
Okay.
like Philippine War, World War
knowledge
One,
about
and
war.
knowledge of war.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
But he's not a
Yes.
war freak,
He's-
right? He's
yeah.
a war freak? No.
I think he is.
Okay.
So getting to know, like, as soon as you mention anything about war, he will know what tanks they use. He will know what
Oh,
guns
wow,
they use.
facts.
Like a war nerd.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
All of a sudden, he knows the exact helmet that Desmond Doss used in that war.
Okay, I don't know who Desmond Doss is, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
So but then he's one of his weaknesses is being, of course, like be able to write essays, math, anything to the usual core subjects.
Okay.
I remember just one time when we were studying for research, and then I saw this paragraph that he wrote for our teacher, and then
This is for an
when
essay.
I saw it, I'm not even kidding. I'm very sorry. Like I said sorry to him about this comment. I said, "Hey, I just want to say, your writing makes it like a 5-year-old, like a philosopher. It's like the way that the 5-year-old writes. Yeah, it's way better than you write. Because like everything was wrong. It felt so
yeah.
misplaced.
So
and
why did you say that in that way?
I
Because
think I
you
think
felt like that was the truth. That was the truth, or
good question.
were you trying
Yeah.
to bully him?
to me, for me, my intention was to say, hey,
To speak a truth?
yeah,
To speak a truth?
to speak the truth, to tell
Okay.
him, hey,
It sucks.
like it's a heads up.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna fail if this is gonna be like
Okay.
this.
Were you trying to be nice to him, or were you trying to be mean to him?
I think mean to him to
Okay.
let him know that
He needs improvement.
yeah, he needs improvement.
So, but this is your friend, right? Were you friends before that?
Yes, we were friends.
So was it
before
like,
then.
did it come from a place of love? Did you want him to improve? That's why you said that.
I did want him to improve
Okay.
because he was one of the back students of the class, and
What's a back student?
backs like they're
Naglingkod sa loyo,
yeah,
or-
yeah, he sits at the back
Yeah.
and he's a bit low on the
Isn't that supposed to be the opposite? If you're low, you're supposed to sit in front. That's the way it's supposed to work?
yeah,
right?
well, again, when we think about, just to define back students, no, when we think about intelligences, there are multiple intelligences, and then
Yeah.
if we were to define and box each student on
Yeah,
like the conventional kind of idea as to like what their grades are and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
define them,
Yeah, yeah.
then syempre, when you rank everyone together, there's always going to be someone in the bottom, in the conventional,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
certain subjects.
In our
no?
definition of, especially if it's a school environment, right?
In certain subjects, yeah.
there is a measure in which you
Yeah.
rank a student by
Yeah.
grades, right? It's actually very simple.
By grades,
It's
yeah.
very simple, right? It's really
Which
by
again,
grades, right?
which again is not the only,
But-
I want to
but-
put it out there, not the only
Yeah, but
intelligence
you-
that the
you
school
enrolled
looks
in the
out.
school, so you've got to
Yeah,
follow by
yeah.
their measures, right?
Yeah.
Right? So kanang galingkod sa luyo, dili kay na siya bright Or
Yeah.
so
In that subject.
In
Yeah,
that
in that
subject.
subject.
Okay,
Pero
writing, in writing lang.
Ako nga nung galingkod man siya sa luyo, am siya galingkod sa tubangan.
Actually, there are lots of
Assigned seats,
yeah,
man.
yeah, it's assigned seats. But there are also times where he's asked to be sit in the front for some certain for some certain reasons. But then he mostly sits at the back because he was assigned there. He was assigned that seat.
Okay. So please continue your story. So you
So-
you
so-
told them that your writing makes a 5-year-old
Look like a philosopher. So, yeah.
Grabe ha kami.
That was really
Choice words but you guys
Yes. It wasn't like it's bate or it sucks. It's actually very poetic the way you said it. No?
You really crafted that insult really well.
So
man.
what was this friend's reaction?
He actually slapped me in the shoulder.
Oh no!
Not gonna lie, you kind of deserved it.
And
but
he was like, "Yo, come on, man." He was like that.
He slapped you?
Yeah, he was like, "Come on, man.
Yeah,
What are
punch
you
on the
doing?"
shoulder.
But not really.
Not like the
Okay.
someone ko. Uy."
Yeah, it was more like, come on, man.
And
Pound
then-
said.
And then so I was like, okay, hey, do you need my help with this? Like, I'd really like to help you. And then I just helped them with the paragraph for that research. And then,
Okay.
hey, it was able to get a good grade on it.
You know what? First of all, I really like how you apologize and you realize it right away because you don't know also internally what he could have
Yeah,
felt
what he's going
from,
through
from
also.
that comment also. But and I like how you even established at the very beginning na people have strengths and weaknesses and we shouldn't judge bitaw nga
Yeah.
kani siya nga tao, he's only capable of doing this. Kay sahay man good. And this is relatable to a lot of students, no. We're very a lot of the students are focused on labi na kung group works that they should, guys, we got to get the passing grade. And if there's
Oh, yeah.
someone that is perceived as like, for the lack of a better term, like the weakest link because they do not display the strengths needed to get the grade that you need in that
Yeah,
particular task, then you would automatically say, sa mukha ning bayhan na, ewan mo ni siya tabang-tabang,
Yeah.
right? But then,
So it's really power dynamics again and competition, right?
competition there.
Because
Oh.
in a way, school is about competition.
Yeah.
Right?
But then, what if we would switch the, switch the flip and flip the switch, basically, and then what if the project was about World War?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, exactly.
closed book oral recitation. Then this kid, for sure,
Oh,
this
yeah.
brilliant kid
But
is gonna get A's.
The problem lang is that in your high school, there's just no way you're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Unless
that,
it's
right?
that specific project,
Yeah.
no? So I'm glad that you were able to resolve that with him, okay? Because in the end, we're, as Jiggy would always say, no man is an island. We're social beings, and you will always be
I
working
didn't say
with.
that, by the way. It's Agostino said that.
Oh, Agustin.
Right?
Oh, what do you say? Like we're no. You say the hand clapping thing.
The hand, yeah.
He
One,
says
the
this
sound
really
of
good-
one. No, I didn't say that. It was Nelson Mandela who said that.
Okay.
I am
You quoted.
an original person. Man.
Plagiarism.
I have no original thoughts whatsoever. I just.
But
I just
Jiggy always says
I
that.
just read from the dead.
Yeah, Jiggy
Read for the
mentions that
dead.
nga murag, we are the sound of one hand clapping.
there's
So we would always need to engage with other people. So it's important that on the side of the bully, nga open ka to people's strengths and weaknesses, and on the side of the bullied, kay you understand po why are they saying this? No, why are they saying this? It's funny nga gihapak ka sa shoulder. No, shout out to all the students listening to us this morning. Top of the morning, guys.
Hello, everyone.
I think some of the students now are having their vacation. Kaya humana ilang mga exams,
Yes,
right?
mao
Including
gyud.
you, right?
Yeah.
My daughter was
I feel
also
like a
very-
gladiator
was
out of
very
the-
happy. In fact, funny guys, summer. My
Yay,
daughter,
summer's free.
She said, I feel so bad. Like I feel so weird.
Why?
Because I have nothing to do. She's stressing out about.
Summer is that productive,
She's
no? Like
stressing
she's
out about not being able to do anything because she's so used to doing something.
yeah, I
much,
kind of
yeah.
know where she gets it from, Jiggy.
Oh, no.
Jiggy, I know where she takes it from, Jiggy.
How about you? Do you feel that there's like a gaping hole if you're not doing anything because you're so busy doing stuff?
Well, I used to have that when I was back in my old school.
Okay.
Like when there's like so much work to do, like you're putting all the work through, and then especially when you want to give the best work, like my former teacher here, Miss Narvius, I wanted to give her the best outfit.
Oh
That's why I
my.
fell asleep at 3 a.m. that night.
Wow.
And so I think like when I remember times when Ateneo where I just like when this moment where I'm not doing anything, it's like, okay, did I forget anything? Did I submit everything on time? Did I do this? Is everyone in their seats? Like when I'm not doing anything, all of a sudden I feel useless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, ako, balik ko. I actually don't feel guilty about resting now. Maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
is that a thing when you get... Are you like that, Jiggy? Because I would say the older you get, the less guilt... No, it depends. Because some people, the older they get, the guiltier they feel for resting. Because you have responsibilities.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, adulting, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Bali man ko, I feel like I deserve this. Like every time I take a rest, I'm like, I need a break for a sec. Because as Jiggy would say,
you deserve it.
Yeah, because you can't. Alang ang pugso nimo imong self. That's a tip I learned from Jiggy. Sleep is the
Our superpower.
Our superpower.
Superpower.
So like you won't be able to study if
I
you're.
didn't also say that. It was Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist, who said that. Okay.
Yeah, but-
Jiggy
but,
doesn't mess with
Jiggy-
plagiarism.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's so funny. I remember
doesn't
that.
plagiarize.
I'm usually bad at quoting people. I'm usually
Okay.
bad at attributing.
But when I tell you,
when you tell me that,
You
it's not-
remember.
then I'll remember who said that. But magilty ko ba, you're not
Guys,
attributing it to me. It's Andrew Huberman who told
ako
me that.
balik because the main philosopher that I engage with every day is Jiggy Pilosopo.
Yes,
So
sir.
he will always be the person I won't quote no Aristotle.
Oh,
no,
no.
I get it from Jiggy. Who
That's
gets it from
Somebody else.
somebody else? Yeah. And hopefully that will be the case for us too, Raj.
Atong tak na karon na 50 minutos na nilabay sa alas 10. You're still listening to Top of the Morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice.
And my name is Justine Arvis. Today we also have
Hi, I'm Raj Sangabil, everyone.
San Gabriel.
San
Atong
Gabriel.
isgutan karong buntaga is bullying. If you have any inputs, any contribution to the matter, let us know. Text 0999-887-6070. You can also join us in our chat group at Tops Media Center. You know what? I'm curious with this question. When does bullying get too much? Because I think
yeah.
naghisgot man ta nga bullying is a kind of spectrum, di ba?
Yes,
Nga
yes.
bullying nga murag tolerable, acceptable. Because I think
Like teasing.
I
Yeah.
think
Sung-sungog.
unlike killing, murder, like there's no such thing as a good murder or a bad murder. I
Yeah.
think bullying can be a spectrum, right? There's probably what we define as a kind of bullying, but is not really detrimental. It's not a bad thing. Namo ko madunggan nga mga stories on the internet and even in real life nga mga tao nga gibully sila so much that they try to kill themselves. You've
Yeah.
heard
Yes.
these stories,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yes, we've all heard.
Or attempted to
Yes,
kill themselves
exactly.
because
Yes.
of they could not take the bullying, right?
Yeah.
So like this must be like is this an extreme and isolated case or is this like a thing that's going on every day? Because I noticed that it's happening a lot of times.
Yes.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because of social media, you see all these
Kana po, social
you read
media.
these
Especially
stories, right?
cyberbullying. Yeah.
Cyberbullying,
There's such
another
thing as
form.
cyberbullying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like unsa man ang kada pong cyberbullying, like how does that work? Can you define to me what cyberbullying is? Is this just bullying the same way that we define real life bullying, but
Cyber way?
Yeah.
cyberly
Yeah.
on the internet?
Yeah. It's like I just want to say cyberbullying became so much that it actually became part of the law that it even became illegal.
Yeah, that's how bad it was.
That's how bad it became. So I think for me, cyberbullying is.
How do you define that?
I think it's also the
What does
same
the law
as.
say?
I think.
Hey, lawyer girl,
Okay.
lawyer up.
Okay,
Okay.
time to search.
Yeah, prepare the articles and sections.
Continue
It's okay.
your
So
statement.
for me, I think cyberbullying is basically exactly what happens in IRL, but just in the palms of your hand through your phones, Twitter, and then like you're just. I think, but it's more on the emotional side.
Okay.
Because you can't physically touch someone through the phone.
Okay.
But then I will say the emotional damage can lead to physical damage to themselves.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So it's kind of like bullying in real life, but online. And I agree with that. No, it's gotten so bad that even our Department of Justice has their own office for cybercrime.
Yeah.
And this encompasses not only comments, everything that has to do with posting something about someone that is kanang insulting, something that is. So I think it all boils down, Jigigid, no, to threshold. Like, what is a person's
How do you know the person's threshold?
That's the thing. Like,
is that written on your shirt? Is that on your Facebook?
Yeah.
My threshold for insults and bullying is
Gamay
only
ra.
10%. How do you know that? So I'm scared. But before I tell you about one of my biggest fears about this whole issue, are you about to define what cyberbullying is? There?
Yeah. No, I was looking at the different acts, no? But before I get into the point of like threshold and how it has to, it's not an internal thing. Like you have to know good everyone's threshold. My point is, there's a certain limit as to when your actions and your comments can be destructive, and that's where we draw the line. Like, but then we'd have to define what is destructive na pod.
And to that person,
Diba?
right?
Oh, yeah. What's destructive to you is not really destructive to me. So
yeah.
it's very, very.
No. I think
Ano?
destructive is destructive to anyone, but it could be based on this conversation. So asundon lang ko na atong istorya when you said the word destructive. Destructive is destructive no matter what, right? But maybe maybe you like destruction. Maybe you like chaos.
Yeah, what
maybe,
if-
maybe you can tolerate
Maybe
chaos.
you thrive in that.
Yeah, maybe you thrive in that environment. Some can't.
Or,
right?
or yeah, and that's
So,
what you
yeah,
mentioned earlier.
yeah.
There are some people that it would really drive them to that
Yeah,
to
to
that
the edge,
point,
right?
no, to
Oh,
the edge, no.
oh.
So yeah, to mitigate that, we I had to like pull up the what's money with
So
different.
balao na lang.
Okay.
He's good
Okay.
with your Raj gun. Ingon siya.
Yeah, yeah.
Kanang
It's been so bad
cyberbullying
nga
is
gipenalize
actually a
na.
law. A
Yeah,
law na
it's
siya.
part of the law.
So, okay, we have Republic Act number 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. So in the
Lugayan na
Philippines,
to, 2012.
Wow,
2012. Okay.
12 years ago.
Social media has been a thing even before then, abaya. So
yeah.
this law criminalizes cyberbullying, which is defined as using technology to defame, insult, or intimidate someone. It is also something that includes provisions against cyber libel and online threats included po na. So victims can file complaints to the Department of Justice's Office of Cybercrime. Then the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013.
This is not cyberbullying, right? This is
This is
anti-bullying na yun.
the one earlier was Cybercrime Prevention Act of
Cyberbullying.
2012. Karon we have the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013.
Not necessarily cyber.
Not necessarily cyber.
All
This,
bullying in general.
yeah,
Okay.
this
Including cyber.
including cyber na siya.
Continue.
Here,
Attorney?
this oh my goodness, this law
Attorney
requires.
I love the feeling when I have attorneys in my room.
I really
In our
wouldn't.
room, I mean.
I really, you know what? When I love that Jiggy has the best intentions to hype me up,
Yeah.
but every time he says, I really feel like no, we're just
Yes,
trying.
attorney, please continue.
Okay, so
Your Honor, Your Honor, Your
there's
Honor.
this.
Raj also calls you ate, so that's attorney.
Ate na lang.
Ate.
Oh no.
ATTY.
Attorney.
Oh
You spell
no.
your
ATTY.
Sliding a spelling. Okay, so the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. This law requires schools to implement policies and procedures to prevent, detect, and respond to cyberbullying. So the schools must provide support and counseling to victims, take disciplinary actions against offenders. I love that they've engaged schools in this. No, nga. It's now become a law. Nga. The schools have that main responsibility because our kids, where do they spend their time? 8 hours a day, every day. It's in schools.
It's in school.
So they really need that extra push and that support from these educational institutions. And I like how they mention here, prevent, detect, and respond. So Maudi ay sa una, I remember sa muka lagi ang well, it's not sa muka, no, but it's like every guidance class before when I was a kid was always about anti-bullying. And for me, kaya it wasn't, our school wasn't tolerant of that man, and my circle mismo, when I would like to say when we got older, thankfully, we grew a conscience and we didn't bully as much. So then
As much.
no. So then at that time, like when the schools would discuss it, we found it like common sense. Many, of course, you wouldn't need to bully, but I can just imagine in other school communities where it's probably not a thing, like
Yeah.
where it's tolerated. So of
Okay.
course they would really need to push for that. They would really need to have those kanang talks about that. No,
Yeah, yeah.
At your time, Jiggy, like when you were in school, did they keep pushing for that? Were there like anti-bullying talks in your?
That's the thing.
Wala no.
I've never heard of that word even.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard
Wala,
of that.
it wasn't a
I
thing.
don't remember. I remember feeling intimidated by people. I remember getting scared by my classmates, but
That's interesting. I want to talk
it
about
was never
the time.
It was never defined or as bullying. In fact, I don't think it was even a bad thing. Like your mom and dad would tell you, man up,
Yeah.
you man up. You know what I mean? Like, like
Tubaga na siya, tubaga.
or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kung-
It was
you
a
know,
different
I
time.
remember my dad never actually said this. Maybe he did, but I don't remember him saying it. But I always remember it from other people, my contemporaries, who would tell them this message to their kids. Okay gyud ko kung ibuli ka or sumbagon ka, pero ayo lang yun, baos lang yun. Baos
That
lang yun.
mindset, no?
Make sure you stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah,
make
yeah.
sure you
stand up for yourself. You
yourself.
can't be. Anybody can push you around, but you gotta push back.
Let them know your place. Yeah.
You know what I mean. So that's
okay.
always the advice of
And that's great advice. That's
yeah.
the best advice for me.
Maybe it is.
Not only for
Maybe
those who are
it is,
bullied.
maybe, yeah.
We all need to stand up for ourselves in everything. So,
But you know,
libot
like
na siya.
in the same way that sexual assault and you know in the workplace and all of that stuff, bullying and all of these things, these are relatively new things that
Murag karon lang siya
karon na
gidefine.
Yeah, karon na siya
Yeah.
gidefine. Ang akong fear ani ba is that when we're so sensitive to other people,
Yes, what happens?
how can we
How can we move?
normally behave and act normally to develop our full potential if we're always walking on eggshells, right? You know, we're always like, hey, you know, like, be careful with that guy. Don't look at him because he's gonna think that you're bullying him.
No,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I'm curious. What does that do?
That is
to
a-
society.
exactly.
If we're so scared to act, to behave a certain way, we're so like a horse with kanang murag na blinders, na ba?
Okay.
No, we
Yeah,
can't do that. We can't do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So
I agree.
So what happens to society? What happens to school
Yeah.
now that we're so scared? We're so sensitive now to all of these things.
Yeah.
I'm curious what that does.
Yeah, ikaw, Rush, do you think what's the dangers of that? No, now when people are too, I wouldn't say sensitive, but you know, like woke culture now, like for Gen Zs, there's nothing wrong with being aware, but then. How, you know those memes of how like people are too sensitive about.
Yes.
So like, what are the dangers of being too woke per se?
First of all, before you answer that,
Okay.
woke used to be a good word. Okay, being woke it means enlightened.
Enlightened.
Right?
Okay.
Right? It was just stolen for political reasons.
Karon?
Because of the thing, and then it became like a bad word, right? But you're using actually language of
Like slang.
a political party.
Oh, okay.
When you say anti-woke, you know, or woke being a bad word.
Okay. It's a political term.
That's actually a political
Okay,
term
okay.
now because a certain political party is anti-woke.
Okay.
They don't like people, the wokeness of people. They hate that, you know, and all of that stuff. So because we are consuming Western media, of course.
Okay.
So that's why.
So that's why we
that's
make
why-
use of that kind of
yeah,
term.
that's why you
Yeah.
use that.
Okay,
So
okay.
So
So let me clarify the question lang, no? So you said like what's like the like school right now with highly oversensitive people like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are the dangers sometimes? Like
Yeah.
we have to look at two sides of the coin.
Okay.
Am I good?
Yeah, so I think one of the dangers is that, like, I know there are some people who mention, like, oh, let's just all respect each other. Let's just respect each other's opinions. It's just that when there are times when even when you respect each other's opinions, that for some reason offends someone else
Yeah.
who is overly sensitive. Like, for example, like when you tell someone, oh, hey, actually, I respect what you believe. I agree with
agree with you.
I agree with you, but like I don't support it, but I respect and I agree why it should be like that. There's still gonna be a person and say, why do you agree with that? Why do you like this?
So no matter what you say, sawayan magid ka.
Yeah.
So okay.
So like I think that's one of the dangers. Like I think with highly oversensitive people, there's not gonna be an end to an argument.
Okay, with highly sensitive people, the dangers of that is there's not going to be an end to an argument because they'll always have something to say.
Yeah.
Even when you already have nothing to say, isaway man ka nga, but why do you agree with that? Why do you, so...
Even when you're already doing like what you know as the right thing or what's majority seen as the right thing to other people, for like another group of people, because they're also sensitive, they see it as a bad thing.
Yeah. So that's the I feel like the paradigm of being enlightened also, Jig, you know, like
the
when
paradigm of being
enlightened,
I like
you know?
it.
The paradigm.
Can we quote that now? No. Now DJ Jiggy Juice is gonna quote that now from Miss Justine Narvius.
So what is the paradigm of being
Enlightened. Like on one hand, on one side of the coin, there's that being open and aware to the point that whatever is different from your opinion, you're accepting and you're open to understanding. But on the other side, it's being open to the point that you almost have no opinion and you're too sensitive to everything. And like you're trying so hard to be woke, you're trying so hard to be aware of like what is politically correct. I must not offend anyone. But in doing that, you're, as you mentioned, walking on eggshells. So then you're not truly standing for something also. It's very difficult for you to, you know, I would say live normally. So then where do we draw the line ba? That's a question. Like how do we know when something is harmful or when a comment, for example, or an act or when something becomes bullying and something is just teasing or something is healthy. Diba?
Okay.
It's really difficult to like
guys, we need your help. Okay?
We need your help.
We need your help. Text us 0999-887-6070. We are
Send it, guys.
We are having a discussion about bullying and we're defining the terms. And our topic in Anisaita Sugbo is, have you ever been bullied or are you
the bully?
Let us know. You can join us on the text at 0999-887-6070. Somebody's trying to bully me with this phone call.
Someone's bullying you now.
Or maybe you can join us on YouTube at Tops Media Center.
Yeah, guys.
Yay. And join us in our conversation. Our topic, once again, is bullying. and whether you're the bully or the bullier or the bully. Let us know. I am Jiggy Juice. Right across me are Justin Narvios and Raj San Gabriel.
Yes.
Sakto?
Yep.
On 105.1 TMC.
The best of us.
That was fun.
That was really nice.
It's hard to. This is what we always do. Whenever we talk about something with Jiggy, we start with like. Sometimes the discussion is so broad. We'll not talk about like what we think it is. We always go with like a source. We'll like define it, and then literally like nitpick like, oh, but if that's the case, then would it mean this and that? That's why Madugay Mixtoria, we talk for like hours about a topic because there's so much facets to look at.
Yeah.
You know, when you
So many paradigms to see.
yeah, when you digest it, there's just so much to see. But
You mean dissect it? Do you mean dissect it?
I dissect. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Dissect it like there's so much to see.
I love
Ham in here.
There's a ham in here!
There's a garlic.
Hey! Sounds like something you never hear, man.
Yeah, there's like a ham in here. It's like a circular ham.
In this room, at least.
I love the impromptu so much.
Yeah, that's just always open.
It reminds me of an oral com. But I remember like we
You guys have to do this in Morocco?
we have to answer impromptu questions. And then one of the for some reason the questions were related to politics. And then so even though even though it's oral, we have to study oral, we have to study the subjects of the questions that
Yes,
we were
like
asked.
news, current events, and all that. Can you imagine us a show today, Jiggy?
Probably.
Oh, Jiggy and Raj, you should try this. Jiggy, this is my favorite snack from like
Oh, I should get.
from Burawin in Leyte. It's called star cookie, but it's meant to look like burnt.
It's like a large star anise.
No, it's just a star cookie. Star anise. It's so good because like here, there's this one bakery that sells it lang yun, and then I got a lucky one. Yummy, no? It's like a butter cookie, ba? Have more.
Like, what does this remind me of?
Like a butter cookie lang yun.
Yeah.
Here, Jiggy.
No.
Oh, okay. I'll put it in the middle then.
I'm giving it to you because I like it.
Oh no! Jiggy, you see, is a sugar addict in denial. He mentions how
It's like having cocaine here in your mind.
he doesn't like I know he doesn't like to overindulge, ba?
This is it, Hakot Dealers. Worldwide Home Depot Hakot Deal promo goes to Car Store and next up at Worldwide Home Depot South Store. Get ready for a fun-filled shopping spree you don't want to miss at Worldwide Home Depot's Hakot Deal promo. Enjoy big discounts and Hakot all you want on December 12th to 15th at Worldwide Home Depot Car, located on Casa Ipiatud Car Salute, and December 19th to 22nd at Worldwide Home Depot South Store.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited to do that. I was like, this was too good to be true, oh my god. Like,
Does not feel right.
it doesn't feel right. And I almost fell for that.
Which one?
The katong chips ba nga ni Lupad dito, Jiggy? Yeah, move out. I don't want to make problems. Are you sure you don't want another one?
I want it, but I don't want it.
Exercise, close to MX3 and multitask and start to more every day. MX3, dili ko bili. Mahalagang paalala ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin paggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Siko, hawa, kung ang sakit sa lutahan kanunay nga usa ka malasanon imailhan ka na sa arthritis o joint deterioration sa garan kung magkaedad na ka. Kilahanglan kini og kusog ug paglahutay aron makaguli mahimo ka na ni Artrisin. May under-nature type 2 collagen at methyl sulfonyl methane na makatabang sa pagpadalimod sa iniusan nga himsog sa atong lutahan. Make the right move inuha ang Artrisin adlaw-adlaw. Papalit ang Artrisin sa mga nagulang putika sa nasod. Importante ka mahinumdum ang Artrisin dili mo sa katapan o dili angay gamiton sa pagtambal sa bisan usang batang sa sakit.
Atong tak na karon 11 minutos nang ilabay sa alas 11 or 11:11
Wow, lucky number.
Sounds like a Shopee Lazada sale, right?
11.
Hello, everyone.
You're still listening to Top of the Morning and your host, my name is
Juice.
And my name is Justine Narvius, and we also have a guest today. This is.
Hi, everyone. I'm Raj San Gabriel.
Hopefully he'll be like a fixture here.
Oh yeah, for
He
sure.
can bully his way into the studios.
Oi.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
By the way,
for sure.
congratulations to our friends from the Cebu People's Multi-Purpose Cooperative who celebrated their 52nd anniversary yesterday. And we'll be having a big celebration this December 21. Happy
Wow.
52nd anniversary to you guys, especially to Sir Michael Abelli and the rest of the team. Happy 52nd anniversary to the Cebu People's Multi-Purpose Cooperative. 52
Yeah.
years in the business.
Wow.
Business, yeah.
Yo, Jiggy, that just reminded me. Okay, because you said it in the list. This. Have you seen like mga rap battles? Ba?
Rap battle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What
There
about
was
rap
like
battle?
there was this. Okay, it doesn't sound as good because I can't rap it the same way as a
Okay,
girl.
okay.
But basically, it was a girl and this guy. But before the girl had to fight this, it's like some mga British.
Yeah.
So it's even it's even has that
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that funny aspect. And so the guy goes. One of the guy makes fun of the other guy's lisp because the guy has a lisp.
Yeah.
So when it's time for the girl, she said something like, she was like, "Don't listen to your." Okay, I can't follow the same the cadence that she has in the rap, but I'll try to get it right. So she says, "Don't listen to them." Oh, she was like, "I actually like your lisp. It's cute. Don't listen to them, man. Say 7 sizzling sausages in a sausage," something like that. Was she had to say something? She said it like
That's difficult to say.
yeah, difficult to
without
say.
having a lisp, right?
Without having a lisp. So pag bawas na siyang opponent, it was very difficult for him. He actually just opted out. Like he didn't say anything. because of the lisp.
You know,
Makes it difficult.
One of the most famous people who have lisp is Mike
Who?
Tyson, right?
Oh yeah, Mike Tyson. Yes. Who else? No, we know someone else with a lisp. That's famous too.
Like for example, Joe Biden doesn't have a lisp. He has a stutter. But there are other like for example, Jack the Wack, the late great Jack the Wack, former DJ of Y101, used to have a lisp. In fact,
Ooh.
you can still detect the lisp of Jack, but he
Was it very like obvious or
No,
it's kind
not.
of a hidden lisp?
It's not
Like
ob-
lisp.
It's not obvious, but if you listen to it
Long enough.
he has a lisp. He used to have like a lisp, and I think something happened when he went to the States or something like that. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, lisps, and that's actually a kind of bullying, right?
when you
sugsog
there,
somebody,
that's a good. Okay,
that's-
great.
When
Ano, Jiggy?
you sugsog somebody
For something that they've got that sometimes maglisod og change.
that they can't do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's physically impossible for them to accomplish.
Mm.
I remember before I had a classmate. This is first year high school, right?
Okay.
Kind of you know what ang ngoho is?
Ngongo?
Ngongo ba ngongo kanang
In the way that they speak.
like they have like a short tongue, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with
No.
the tongue.
I remember
Yeah.
I remember good like this was music class. This is like I'm very good friends with him, but this is first year high school. You know how mean we are when you're in first year.
Ooh,
high school,
first year
right?
high school.
This was music class. Everybody was asked to sing, right?
Yes, yeah, town.
And siya in town, he has like a
Yes, that
ngoho, right?
that difficulty.
The teacher didn't know. This was like a fairly new class.
Okay.
Bago na gid sugod ang school year ba?
Okay.
I
So
see.
she didn't know that this guy had the thing, right? So he tried to sing, and I think people started laughing, and then so the teacher
Oh no.
so the teacher stopped him, right? And then they had like a conversation, private conversation, and then
And the teacher found out.
and then the teacher found out, and then I think eventually he was just asked to, instead of sing, to dance.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Which he was
Perfect.
Which he was very
Very good
he
at.
was very
Wow.
good at.
Ay, so,
That is one of the strengths that he
Yeah.
has.
see,
Yeah.
sometimes when you just you don't know, they
You
they
don't
could
know.
be good at something
Yeah.
else.
Mm.
So towns he had a hard time singing.
Yeah.
So yeah, people's
know,
difficulties when we use them as bullets against
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I'm curious about, because we were talking about nations bullying other nations, right? We were talking about that. So bullying is not just exclusive to like power, like schools or
To
companies,
friends.
but it could also be between nations, right?
Yes.
You're bullying them with a ban on this or a tariff on this. You know that's the language that we use.
Yeah.
The United States bullies this, or like Russia bullies this. You know what I mean? Like it's a word that we use also. I'm curious about what if the bully has good intentions. What if the bully wants to bully somebody who is bad, for example.
Oh,
Like it's like a vigilante kind of feeling.
Vigilante for bullies.
Vigilante for bullies.
Yeah, probably. Probably. But
Bito.
but what if
Is that okay?
the bully wants to bully the person or the company or the nation because he wants to make sure that because I think the bully of the nation, for example, wants to have a more peaceful world, for example. You know what I mean? Or his ang iyang ganahan may tabo is nga wagtang ni siyang lugar, for example, so that the world can flourish better. For example lang ba? For example, I'm sure there are actual examples that I can mention, but not for this. But what I'm saying is, what if the bully's intentions are good? Is that still considered bullying? Is all bullying all bad all the time?
There, that's the thing.
Philosophical question.
Atong gisgutan karong buntaga mga kay igsuunan ko sa atong mag-anisay ta Sugbo is, have you ever been bullied or are you the bully? Text 0999-887-6070 or you can join us on the chats at Tops Media Center. What do you think of that, Justine?
Yeah. Again, keyword intention. No. So
Okay.
it also poses the question like, are you going to rectify an immoral act, which is bullying, with another immoral act? Like,
So-
does it cancel out? Does it become justifiable nga just because bully man siya? So ako sad siyang i-bully. Like,
So
diba?
you're already defining bullying as immoral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say.
So all bullying is immoral. Is that what you're saying? Like there, because we're talking about spectrums
Yeah.
now, right? Like for example, if your mom tells you something, and you were slighted by it, even though it came from your mom, that is still.
I wouldn't. Well, in my book,
Yeah.
I wouldn't count that as part of the spectrum. I wouldn't count that as bullying, man.
No, but what I'm saying is, you understand that there's a spectrum, right?
Yeah, and
That's really just harmless bullying, right? Oh, and there's like bullying that'll drive you nuts.
no, I would say
All bullying is bad.
all bullying is harmful. Like the spectrum in
Oh,
itself,
okay,
for me,
okay.
it already starts as harmful to very, very harmful. So ang kanang mga sungsungog,
okay,
dili
okay.
na nako siya i-count as bullying. Like
Dili
mga-
nimo, wow.
for me, like in my own book,
Okay.
like if it's again, it would the
But-
criteria I made. It would depend on my relationship with the person.
Okay.
How they
So, but you can't
deliver
you
that.
can't universalize that. But that's
Yeah,
personal,
that's
right?
the thing.
There's just no way you can say this is we're gonna make.
Yeah, it's like this is the standard
Yeah,
good for ano. But for me, in my book,
Okay.
I would say that all bullying is bad
Okay.
or harmful
Yeah,
or immoral,
regardless
so-
of the intention. Yes.
regardless of the
So,
intention.
so how about nations bullying other nations for a more peaceful world? How about that?
for a more okay? The thing is, I don't have like I'm trying to understand it in a political perspective because I'll be honest, I've never. I mean, I've heard of that like some mga news. What do you call this? Like the front page, I would say like, oh, America the USA bullies like this certain country, something like
Whatever,
that,
okay.
whatever. But I would never really look into it, so I don't really have context to like when corporations bully another
Yeah.
smaller
Yeah,
corporation.
yeah.
Like I only have interpersonal context as to like if it
No,
was
but
about
the-
within
but-
relationships.
yeah, but let's just make it. Let's just put it in the theoretical na lang.
Okay.
Kato, the same example.
Okay, so the question is,
So
what do I think about that,
What
no?
do you think of another nation bullying another nation for world peace?
for world peace,
I mean, there are like
then I wouldn't count that bullying because the intention man
So
is
it's the intention that makes the bullying not bullying. Is that what you're saying?
the intention and the way that they do it. Ikaw, Rush, what do you think?
I mean, like in terms of like bullying other countries, like I think there's like other ways or even such as better ways to like even solve world peace without doing the bullying.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you guys think, but can what are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I agree with you, but like
yeah.
nobody's actually solved.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
problem,
exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
I get
Okay.
what you mean. I get what you mean.
So, what's a better way? We've I don't know if we've tried everything. I'm sure we haven't, or we probably tried everything, but only to a certain extent, not to the extent that it's actually going to happen. But I think it's important that we try as much as we can to that end goal, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to try and keep on trying,
Yeah.
and
To
not to stop
yeah.
trying when it comes to
Not bullying.
no world peace.
Oh, world peace.
The
Yes.
objective, right?
Yeah.
So the bully is his intention is just for world peace.
World peace.
Okay,
yeah.
for example, I'm gonna think of it like I'm just gonna simplify it.
Okay, go ahead,
There's a
please.
bully, there's a jock, Okay, and then he's been like the big bad wolf terrorizing everyone else in the school.
He's not the big bad wolf. He's just bigger.
Bigger than everyone.
Bigger than everyone. Yeah.
And then there's this bullied. There's like one of them.
There's this, like, let's just say, second most powerful.
Second most powerful
most
jock.
powerful bully.
Jock in the room.
Okay.
And this jock is like is evil.
Okay.
Is evil.
Oh, he's evil also. Okay.
He's bad.
Okay.
He's bad. No. Sorry. The word is not bad. He looks at the world differently from
the first bully.
From the first person, right?
Okay.
The biggest of them all, right? And he's infecting the others with his way of looking at the world, right? He's like teaching them, hey, do this, do that, do that.
Okay.
So and then the bully number one feels like if the world is going to be like the way bully number two perceives it to be, then it'll be chaotic and it won't be.
So they disagree with that.
It won't be to the advantage of the bully. So he doesn't want the second bully to make the world. He doesn't want to make the bully of. He doesn't want bully number two to become bully number one, because if bully number two becomes bully
sama
number
siya
one,
mabutang.
Then now he's back. Now he goes to two. Yeah.
he becomes the bullied. You know what I mean? So these are actual power dynamics. We're talking about nations, but actually applies to the individual
To that
level,
itself.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
So then the question there is, if bully number two were to bully number one, bully number one, so then, like, is that okay? What do I think about that? Like, other countries bullying other countries to be able to maintain peace.
Yeah.
I would still say it's bullying. If it's to stand up for yourself, and if it's to stand up for all the other countries to maintain peace, then it's good. But if it's bullying just for that,
I think,
end.
You know what? I think our correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm maybe oversimplifying the problem, but I think
Yeah.
I think the problem here is just the use of the word bullying. Right?
Yeah.
I think the word bullying is so
Broad?
so broad.
It's
so,
kind of
so,
like-
so
Yeah.
nebulous. So like it could be all encompassing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
You
we
know what I
think
mean?
we understand it,
Yeah.
but this is the thing.
And then
When we discuss
for example,
it,
ituod ka na ko ron Justin ba? Niya, hapit ka
there is a
matumba.
tops.
No, just here on your chair.
Okay.
That is kind of bullying if you think about it, right?
It
You know,
can be
yeah,
considered, and
yeah,
it also can be considered as not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then that's
So I think that this is where the problem, right, lies, right? I think that our grasp of the word bullying. Wala magani binisaya. Unsa may kundi, guys, if you can help us pretty please. Unsa may binisaya sa bullying? Tabangi ko na mi diri kay
bullying.
maybe this is a Western concept. Kay in English naman so we are attempting to solve, but we actually have no right because it's not part of who we are as a people. How about you? Did you get a definition of what
Yes,
bullying? Unsa man?
I got the definition of bullying in Cebuano.
Unsa man?
Oh,
So I put in Google Translate English, I'm being bullied.
Okay.
And then in Cebuano it said gibuli ko. So I don't think there is a word for Cebuano.
So
bullied gid ay siya,
Bullied.
no?
Gibuli daw ko.
Gibuli ko.
Gibuli lang ko.
Gibuli ko.
I think it's really more encapsulation of how it is in our culture, but just to man up.
No.
You know what I mean? Like sumka, like di mo na kagdili kwan,
It's I mean, there's for me there's certain merit to that. Kaya it's
Paskwila ka na ko kay para makipaw ka pagaman, di ba?
Dili kayo magano. But there's a certain merit to that. To a lot of the younger generation now, they could be offended also by that way of kanang trying to that kind of message bang you should man up, as if
Or woman up for that
or woman
matter.
up. So as if airing out your concerns is not being a man,
Okay. Or being a woman.
or being a woman. But I think the deeper message behind that, or the spirit behind that, is that you have to stand up for yourself and kanang mukumbati ka ba, and it's super important for me to it's super it's like super oversimplified though, like
Okay.
I can say it, right? It's so easy for us to say like, oh, when you have struggles, just fight
it.
through it. Stop it. Like, you have to be a fighter. But then we all know that's not the case for...
Natay text
you
ito
know?
0999-8876-070. Ningon si
Ooh.
Tagal lapu-lapu ni siya. Ningon siya.
Lapu-lapu.
Parigla. Parigla. I think kaning parigla. Murag ambush man ang parigla. Dili man na siya. I don't think it's related to the word.
Giparigla.
Gipariglahan. Kanang parigla.
Okay.
Murag ambush.
So that could be maybe that's like the closest we can get to bullying in Bisaya.
Yeah.
Gipariglahan ko.
Now that we're talking about it, it's weird that we don't have a word for it, right?
We don't. There's so many things throughout the course of the show, Jiggy and Raj, no, that we find out nga, wait, there's no Bisaya word for that.
Can we just make the bully word humba?
Humba.
Ay guys, nahumba ako sa school, guys.
Gihumba mo ko.
Gihumba ako sa school,
you know,
guys.
that could be a trend. That could be a thing now.
Guys, hashtag don't humba in school.
Don't humba in school. Ay, ko humba ha? You know what? That could be a thing. Like, it could be a slang ba? Gihumba mo na siya.
No, don't humba in school, guys.
But if you're a bully, humba ka.
You're the humbaer.
You're such a humba. You humba. That's a great idea.
I do have a question about manning up, though. So
Go ahead.
For let's say for someone who's in elementary, like getting, I'm gonna use the scenario of Jiggy Juice here of being short, being called short.
Okay.
So let's say
Who you calling short, by the way?
myself.
Ourselves.
So what do you tell someone who's like, you know, this is their first time experiencing bullying?
Okay.
Like, normally, the first thing that we tell like elementary school, elementary kids, tell a trusted adult, tell a teacher, right?
Yes.
Report it to a teacher, and then, but like, we're also like, there are also some parents who tell these kids to, like what we mentioned earlier, man up. It's nothing big, it's nothing serious. So what advice would you give to someone like an elementary kid? Would you tell them to still tell a trusted adult, or just tell them to man up?
Oh, that's a
If
good
they're being
question.
bullied,
Yeah, let's say.
Gigi. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, like, so being called short, it's still bullying, but like it's not as bad as when like, the kid will, like, let's say, commit suicide or anything.
but you'll never know.
Yeah,
But
that's
you'll
true.
never
That's
know,
true.
right? You'll never
That's true.
know.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Okay. So what would you advise the kid?
Yeah, like, would you still tell them? Would you still advise them to still tell a trusted adult, or just tell them to man up?
Just tell them to
Yeah.
talk to a trusted adult. Would you advise the kid to talk to an adult?
Yeah, kaya di ba usually the advice for that? Pag there is-
Usually when you're that age, you usually go to mommy or to daddy, right?
Yeah.
I mean that would normally be the case.
Yeah, but
so
wouldn't
are you
that
saying
go
the
against
the
manning
advice
up?
of the advice of the parent and the teachers? You mean?
Yeah, that's the advice of the school.
What would that school's advice be to the kid who was being bullied? Is that what you're saying?
Tell it. Yeah, tell it. They normally tell us, like, tell a teacher. Make sure tell the teacher. Report to the faculty or to the disciplinary council. But like there are also parents who don't want to sugarcoat that stuff for their kids. Like, okay, hey, the world isn't that bad, but like in reality, the world is bad. So should you like tell them to man up to get them prepared for the world, or still like kind of like sugarcoat it by telling them to report to a teacher?
Yeah.
How's
there's-
reporting it to the teacher sugarcoating it?
Because like you're still telling like your kid, hey, okay, this is just like the first experience. This won't happen again. You're my perfect little angel. No one else will bully you ever again.
That's a total and complete lie.
Yeah. So I think what Raj is
Exactly.
asking is there's two choices, and they kind of pose two sides of the coin. On one hand, children are encouraged when if they're experiencing bullying, to report to a teacher or to someone who's like a trusted authority.
Okay.
That's option number one. And that would seem to be the more empathetic option, the more kanang murag safeguarding option. In this case lang, we're perceiving it as that.
Okay.
Based
on that example.
Based on that example, it's a more safeguarding. Kanang you're patting them, but tell them, okay, if something happens, you should always talk to a trusted adult. However, there are also like, you know, different families who have a different kind of philosophy, nga more tough love ba, more
Want them to man up.
more man up. So ayog report diya sa teacher kung gibully ka, you
man up.
you man
Yeah,
up.
you man
You
up.
fight back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then Rush's question is what would you advise Jiggy? Because those are two different, like as a parent, those are two different parenting styles. The other one is protective. The other one is protective also, but in a different nature. So what would you do? And I'm interested in this because I also have something to add on later on.
Well, actually, I don't probably have an answer to that because I wouldn't know what to do. But I would trust the school,
Okay.
and then let my kid who I enrolled in that school go through the process of whatever it takes, right? And if it reaches me, then it must have been like extreme, nah. Like
Okay.
I remember there was a time when nobody knows this, but now I can say it.
Now everyone knows it.
Here we go.
Not even Vaughn's mom knew about this.
You're hearing it first here at top of the morning.
Von Blaze is my son. I was called by the
Yes,
by the school.
our new certified PT.
Yeah, I was called by the school, and I was wondering what the hell's going on. You know, like
Ala.
I've never this has never happened to me. Finally, nangaway day si Von onya paghuman morag nag-away day sila onya morag when he probably used like paper. Wag na paper cut ang mata bitaw sa mga estudyante or something like that. Wala nasama ka very like
Very thin,
life
yeah.
scar lang gamay kay wala nasama
Ouch.
pero like there was like a thing.
Paper cut. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
So-
okay.
So gidako dito niya I was talking to the parent, you know, like so that wasn't like an extreme case na.
Okay. Kaya abot naman sa imo ha.
Naabot naman sa kuha but if I wasn't called
You trust lang.
I you know, you should trust the school. Like, you know, at the end of the day,
You
they
put
go,
them there.
They go home to you also. Right? So you have
Yeah.
inputs also on what to do. So you ask them, how's your day? And
But for the meantime, you put them in that school,
yeah,
man.
so you put them in that school. So you have to.
You gotta trust.
You gotta trust them because I think, man, good educating a child is difficult, right?
Yeah.
Like even though if you're a parent, you know, you don't. Now, people always say parents know best. You don't even know what's best for you. You know what I mean? For yourself.
Yeah.
Think about that for a while.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's best for yourself. How do you know what's best for other people? Your children, right? Kanay muhang what's best for your children is just your point of view. It's the way you look at the world, but that's not necessarily the best for them because they're not like you. They're not you. You want them to be like you. That's why you think that's best for them because you want to mold them the way you
Sa
are.
imo
You were
ha.
taught, yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
so,
okay.
So I think it's a specialty. You have to go to school to learn how to teach people, right? So if I'm not a school teacher, if I'm not
So you trust, oh.
I'm not learned of the ways of educating,
teaching.
of educating my children. Then
Yes.
I'm you know like I'm gonna have to have faith on what they're doing.
Yeah, because you enrolled in that school, so
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
way to look at it.
Yeah.
So I think,
And plus, you have like when they go home, like I said, you can still
yeah,
be
because
part
they
of
still come
Yeah.
home to you.
part of the process of
Yeah,
molding
yeah.
them. But I'm not an expert on that, so I'm only expert on a certain narrow field. You're about to say something. Go ahead.
I was.
Or was it Justin? Go whoever, man.
Oh wait, yeah. You said you were going to add
Oh,
something.
yeah.
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
actually, I when you gave that example, Raj, I kind of laughed because I do remember when my brother was a kid, when he was very young. One of his schoolmates kicked him in the rib and
Oh, wow.
nabulog siya. Then iyang school uniform kinagi footmark diri siyang rib.
Oh, wow.
Okay, proof. Oh
Yeah,
no,
nagi.
that's proof.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? I'm very proud of my brother because he cried about it. Kay sakit daw, nabunog lagi iyang rib.
Yun, I can imagine. That.
Pero-
Sugira pa na mo sakit.
Yeah,
Pero
that
my
hurts.
brother, Diane, told my mom nga,
Okay.
this kid had anong man taon, bro, this kid was like a special needs kid. So my brother automatically, that's the first thing he said when he said, oh, I got kicked. But you know what? Let's understand because this kid, he has like temper issues and is a special needs kid and stuff like that. But we were still very much concerned.
How old was your brother at that time?
Grade school pa, bata pa siya.
Wow.
Was he in Ateneo, no?
No, my brother went to a different school,
Okay,
and
okay.
yeah, so in grade school, I remember we were at that time. So that was the first time that my parents had that kind of conversation. Nga, okay, you know what? It's just an exemption this time because we understand that kid and his situation. But you know what, Josh? If there are other kids that are bullying you, you should do this and that. Okay. And I remember it was funny because each parent had a different
Answer.
Answer. My mom goes,
Response, yeah.
Kuy, you just report to us. How you just tell us, like, run away, kid. If somebody chokeholds you, you should run away. And my dad said, Ayo, oy, you know what? You do this, you do this. And my dad was teaching him, you jab them in the throat. And my mom got so mad. My mom was like, ganahan. Yeah. My dad was like, you do this, jab them in the throat. And my mom was like, ganahan ka, makriminal atong anak. My mom was so pissed. She was like, basta mapriso atong anak, mahiwa siya kriminal. You're teaching him to be honest. So it's funny until now ba. And I think my brother ended up, there's another time nga, this bully in there, I think he was like trying to wrestle my brother, and then I think my brother just jumped on his back and like,
Abo.
yeah, for a while, because he needed to stand up, man kunuhay. But after that one time, this kid never took his food, and so I think it's a case-to-case basis when you should run and when you should fight. Pero
Fight
sa
back,
akong mom's
yeah.
way, run, I don't care.
Just run.
Run as fast as you can.
Yeah.
My dad said, "What kind of guy would run from a fight?"
You know, one of my basic philosophies of school, Mangud, is that school is a microcosm of the world, right?
Oh.
Whatever happens in school happens in the world, right?
Yeah, that's so
there are
true.
bad things, there are good things, there are bullies, there are people who love you, there are people who hate you. It's like
Competition.
there's competition,
Yes.
and you know, there-
Metrics,
there-
standards.
There are free market of ideas, there are good ideas, there are bad ideas, and all of that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Authority.
So that's why Mangali, my kids, Yvonne and Summer, used to be in a smaller exclusive school, right?
Okay.
But I told them this school is too small. You know, this is the population of this school is too small to replicate the world, right? So I've got to put you in a bigger school so that you'll learn because ultimately, my good. This is just my personal philosophy. My job.
Go ahead.
My job as a parent is not to make my kids happy. My job as a parent is to make them ready for the world.
Prepared.
It's
yes.
not to make them happy.
It's for them to be ready for the
Ready.
world. For them to be ready for the world, right?
For what may come. Yes.
For what may come. Happiness is relative. Happiness is it's a preference, right?
It's primary, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
subjective.
yeah. You don't know what makes them happy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know your daughter's boyfriend, you probably don't like him. You know, it's not right for you. Blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But that makes her happy. Like
So then it's subjective.
yeah. So what are you gonna do? You know, like you can't fight that.
Yeah.
So but readiness, you can do. You know what I mean? You can prepare them for the world. That's why I want them to be in a bigger
That's
school.
nice. That's
To
nice.
the bigger environment.
You
That's why
transfer them to
to a
the
bigger
bigger
school.
school.
Like
Like to be
population-
exposed.
you have
like
to be exposed to the. I'm more realistic, more representative
Yeah.
of what a real world is.
Yeah.
Nakabantay ka ng mga bata kuno sa eskwelahan nga dagko sa baan. They're more noisy compared to
Oh, wow.
Is that true?
uh, to smaller
Smaller schools.
because you need more effort to be heard.
Okay, dako man ang classroom
O
and
dako mga
everyone's
klase
yeah,
daghan
yeah.
ng tao so sa baan murag like
Yeah.
But kung gamay ra nga school like they're almost in a whisper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about
Yeah,
that, Raj?
that
Kay-
actu-
right now you moved to a smaller school, right?
Yes.
No,
So-
not just a smaller school, but a
Homeschool.
homeschool.
Yeah, it's actually worldwide, but I know. Actually,
okay.
I would like to what the story of Jiggy Juice. It reminded me of this one story when I transferred to a new school.
Okay.
From homeschool, it's very different, and then it's my first time it's first time in a while that I've been in a big school again, and then so I remember like being so excited, make new friends. Try out cafeteria food again.
Cafeteria food.
And then I remember my first trip to the bathroom during class. I had my bathroom pass. I remember when I entered the bathroom, all of a sudden I see smoke coming out of the bathrooms. And I'm like, oh, campfire? Is there a campfire? And then there's these some teenage boys just chilling in the bathroom. And then I just wanted to do my business, so I went to go inside the stall, but that was surrounded by.
Weren't you curious where the fire is from?
Oh yeah, I was curious. So
Or was there fire at all?
yeah, I
Didn't you report it to the fire truck?
I actually kind of hoped it was fire because when I went to open
You
the
hoped
stall,
it was fire?
No, I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna because when I opened, all I could see was just smoke that smelled like watermelon.
Okay.
And it was just vape being used
Ay,
by the
nako.
students.
Okay, vape, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
They've been dealt with.
once I saw, I was like, okay, I'll go to the next CR.
Okay.
I'll go to the next stall. Don't
So
mind
see,
me.
that's what Jiggy says. More representative
Yeah.
of the real world
Yeah,
of
to
how
be prepared, yeah.
of how. So hi Mago, when you're in your own micro, as Jiggy would say, the
Yeah.
microcosm of like a small school, you wouldn't really experience those until you've gone to a big school. There's a lot of negative things that you see
Yeah.
when you transfer to a big school,
Yeah.
or positive things as well. Nga murag, oh, I didn't expect that this is how things go. Di ay, no? Nga you have to. Or like this is how it is when you're in a bigger school. You're more, you know what? I'll share an experience also. When I was younger, you know how the canteen is? It's quite big in
Yes,
Ateneo.
yeah.
I'm just talking about the one canteen, like the junior high school one.
Okay.
And so like there are different stalls, and they're like on each end of the canteen. So to transfer from one stall to another, you really have to cross between the entire crowd.
It's like a long walk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long walk.
I see.
Like a long walk to just go through the crowd, right? And I remember when
Excuse me.
not even because everyone's seated, so everyone's sitting down. So just to walk through the cafeteria, just imagine having to walk.
Yeah, I've
It's
done
a
that
war
many
zone.
When
times.
I was new, like in 7th grade, I didn't want to walk through the cafeteria if I was alone.
Okay.
Like I'd have to have a friend with me, and then we
Yeah.
would bind the other cafeteria. If it was just me, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna go through each corner of the cafeteria. I'm not gonna go past the middle.
Okay.
And then my mom noticed this because when I was younger, she'd say, "Okay, I'll pick you up here sa gym."
Okay.
And then there's like this quadrangle pa man before the gym. Yeah. There are some people who would hang out sa side, labi ng older years, nga
Okay,
mga
okay,
guys,
okay.
maglingkod-lingkod, ana-ana. And then my mom would notice, she saw me like, why do you go around the quadrangle?
Yeah.
Why don't you pass the side where the guys are sitting down?
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you shy? Just because they're older guys, ana-ana. And then another day, this time it was a group of girls or it was a group of other people. And she's like, why do you always turn around the quadrangle? And I was like, oh, I wouldn't admit that I'm shy. I'd just be like, oh, I just want to walk. And so you know what my mom freaking did?
What she did?
She was like, from now on, I'm going to fetch you in the middle of the gym.
Oh,
you have
no.
to sit there and wait for me where all the people wait, like where all the cars pass.
Oh, wow.
She wouldn't let me sit like in the silent corners of the school, like sit in school chapel and wait.
Okay,
And
okay.
She was like, sit in the most crowded area where all the athletes pass by, where all the parents park
To train you.
to train me. And I really
be ready for the world.
Oh my God, Jiggy, I hated it. Like first few weeks, I was like, Mom, I'm so shy here. Can you hurry up and pick me up? Now I'm like sitting here. And you know what? It came in handy because
Now you're not-
what kind of TMC host
Uh-huh.
or singer would have that kind of personality?
Yeah.
Like how would I make something out of myself if even just crossing in the middle of a
Yeah.
canteen, kaya di na ko makaya, kaya mauwawon ko.
Yeah.
And I don't even consider myself shy. I was just very, I don't know, insecure. So she, as you can say, she forced me, she pushed me.
Yeah.
you know?
Nudged you into the right direction. Yes, you were
Yeah.
about to say something, sir, or not?
No, I wasn't. I was just agreeing with what you said. I was,
You
Yeah.
always, you always have that quizzical look.
I think I think it's a like philosophical nga
The
look.
philosoph-
Parang,
Yeah.
After all,
Yeah.
it came from him. The last words of Rizal, right?
Yeah, it's
I've been practiced during philosophy class. You're like, you don't understand what the teacher's saying, but you go, yes.
Kung naibog mo sa
Agreed.
among istoryan diri as kabuntagon sa top of the morning, atong mag-anisay ta sugbo is, are you the bully or have you been bullied?
bullied.
Dun dun dun.
Let us know your thoughts. 0999 8876 according to Joel Lim.
Hi, Joel Lim.
Nako ni kanta nga about bullying kanang mean,
Oh.
mean kuno
Ooh.
from Taylor Swift.
Mean by Taylor
Oh,
Swift.
I love this song.
Kibaw ka kanang mean ba kanang word nga mean. That's so like
You're so mean.
that's a
Why you
generational
gotta be so
word, right? I think
Why is it generational?
like
Before?
I remember there's a lot of people at a certain age say that a lot. You're so mean.
You're so mean.
Yeah, I remember like being young, I would be terrified when like someone called me mean.
Really?
Yeah, cause like
It really means
yeah,
something
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, like when like with my parents are like semi strict, but like they like with the good they teach me the good values to know. So like
Okay.
anything that like when someone calls me mean or like the thing that I did was mean or like bad, it just like
You feel guilty?
I feel guilty like right away, and
Yeah.
then like you just want to say automatically say sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I remember this one time where we went to visit a friend's house, and then I meant it as a compliment. They had this like huge spider web that was made by a gorgeous spider, and then I said,
Okay, spider web.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, that's a nice spider web. And then my mom was like, yo, what are you doing?
Stop saying that their house looks like it's
it looks like an
covered in
old haunted house.
cobwebs. I like how you're complimenting spiderweb.
And then I remember having this
Boy,
like,
limpyo-limpyo day.
Yeah. I remember having this like 30-minute lecture with my mom about thinking what you say before you say it.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah, we've all had that
yeah,
lecture.
Yeah, that got me like, okay.
You
I will
don't
now
say
think.
that. No?
Yes, well,
I can relate to that.
saying. I like that.
Yeah, so you don't become mean. This is our listener override.
Yeah, but see what?
This is our listener override, right?
This next song?
Yeah, the mean. Oh, okay,
We're
okay.
not playing the song yet.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
But I think I like that when you have to think what you have to say.
think
right?
what you have to say.
But sometimes, oh my God, if you have to consider everything, then you can't say anything.
Yeah.
You know what
If
I mean?
you consider everything, then you can't say anything.
If you're overly sensitive to everybody's needs and everybody's sensitivities, then there's it's the safest bet. Hilom na lang. Ayun lang don't say anything na lang. Right?
Yeah.
Because chances are whatever you're gonna say is gonna
It's gonna be taken
offend
against you,
somebody.
used
It's
against
gonna
you.
insult somebody. It's gonna make somebody feel bad, right? So yeah.
Exactly. Good point.
So
So listen, don't be mean.
yeah.
I think that was how I described my example earlier. I was mean when I was a kid. I was a mean kid. Oh well.
But it could also be confidence, right?
I don't think it was confidence.
No,
I think
but what I mean is, it's possible.
Oh yeah. Being me,
you're
being
able
confident.
to speak your mind, and you're just confident, and then it offends other people. If you say something truthful to somebody, but
and then they don't take it well.
But because you're still a kid, you can't really craft elaborate sentences yet, right?
Yes. Or think before you speak. Oh, it could be.
Maganisay ra ka pero sige lang honest, di ba? Sige lang sulti sa kamatuoran.
Sa
Sometimes
tinuod.
good ka na kamatuoran man good. Sometimes some people can't handle the truth, right?
Yeah.
You
Right?
can't handle the.
So
You can't handle it.
That's true.
Joel Lim says, example, the U.S. cracking down on
Smaller nations.
to discourage them from developing nuclear weapons, but they themselves have the biggest arsenal of nuclear weapons.
Biggest
right?
nuke, I think, in the world.
So that's an example of nations bullying other nations, as you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
diba? Yeah, that's a good example for that.
Of course, the United States thinks that they're responsible to handle their nukes well. They can take care and not use their nukes if at all. It's like really extreme cases, right?
Yeah.
But they feel other nations are not as responsible as them.
Yeah.
Right. So they feel like if you give nukes to certain nations, certain leaders,
They're not gonna handle it. Yeah, they're gonna mess it up.
They're actually gonna use it, diba? Ika naman kung nukes or weapons, for that matter, is really mura man na siya, if there's an imbalance in the world, that's when war happens, right? If everybody is, if both nations, if both world powers are assured of mutual destruction, then there's no war, because they're gonna completely annihilate each other. So muna siya, that's the reason why there are weapons.
Yeah,
in the world.
exactly, and that's why war exists.
Supposedly to stop war.
Yeah,
Which is-
but instead,
it's
it's
ironic,
used
right?
to start war.
Yeah.
That's the ironic thing. You're putting weapons on weapons to stop war, and then to start war.
Maybe we should invite your friend who's a war freak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can invite some of your friends. We'll have a little bit of chat. I'm sure we'll have like, if we're gonna have like a game, I'm sure he's gonna outsmart us with all the war facts.
It's gonna be 2 hours of World War II.
Yeah, good.
That's weird. I'm thinking about a song about bullying in
Bisaya.
but I don't think we don't even have a word for it, let alone a song, right?
I think the closest we can get.
Humba.
Humba by Scrambled Eggs. I think the closest song I thought of when I thought about
Did you just say tong?
song, I had a list. I'm Mike Tyson, guys.
Tong tong. I was
Jiggy,
singing a tong.
You're bullying me.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Raj, you saw
Sorry,
that,
I'm
Raj,
being
you were-
mean.
You're
Sorry.
being mean.
I have 2 pesos. You can take everything.
Bullying.
Have knocked me off my feet.
Ay, nako. Taylor Swift, me and... What time is it? We might just come in?
Yeah, let's go anywhere.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm going down to. You wanna go with us? If ever. So you have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes left. Yeah. Who's picking you up here?
My mom and dad are just waiting downstairs.
Oh, wow,
okay,
they should
perfect.
have asked them up here.
They've been listening to the whole thing.
Oh no!
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they okay with that? Are they mad at me?
No, you're very open-minded as well.
Okay.
Open to
They
any
will
subject.
come to visit here as well.
Well, you should have asked them to come here.
Yeah,
Next time.
As they evolve.
Yeah.
So you said you prepared something?
The document?
Oh yeah, over here.
Okay.
Actually, during our good discussion, my mom and dad has been sending some stuff, like the answers,
Okay.
like elaboration of what
Oh,
I
that's
said.
nice.
That's good.
Yeah, we need their tips too. Like
Yeah.
we do that too. We ask our family members, pag ano mo way, give us some input.
Oh, it's a freak happened.
Is this me? Oh,
Here, Miss Narvius, this is for you.
thank you. Is this my copy?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened there, but Mean was just being bullied by Journey.
I don't know what on earth just happened there, but anyway, that was a song about bullying according to Joel Lim. So we played it.
Do not stop.
It is now 11:50. 10 minutos na lang na alas 12 na gid kita. Kuya Magic is coming up.
International flavors.
He's coming up next at 12 o'clock for a show we call The Magic Hour. We're still talking about bullying. Ang atong mag-anisay tasugbo, are you the bully or were you being bullied back in the day? Or are you being bullied now? You know, I think we should have talked about bullying in the workplace as well, because I think that's also
Oh my, yeah.
very important.
yeah.
Kaya nga to ang hisgutan kadaghanan is just really bullying in the context of school, right?
Yeah, but you can
But I think bullying
It can happen anywhere.
It can happen
Yes.
anywhere. In fact, like we talked about, nations bully each other. How much more?
Yeah, so how much more in the workplace,
in the
diba?
workplace, right? So maybe if nagtrabaho ka, when you feel you were bullied back then or being bullied now, maybe you can tell us 0999 887 6070. Tell us how you feel about our conversation about bullying. Are you the bully? How about you, Kuya Magic? Have you ever been bullied?
No, he's the
Or
bully.
are you bullied? You look like
Here we
you're-
go. Here we go.
I like how you
you're the
automatically
bully.
said, I'm
You're
not the bully.
I'm not a bully. I was bullied a lot.
Huh?
Yeah,
Really?
I was bullied a lot. Yeah, they used to call me
What? No magic?
sleeping bags,
No magic.
slugs on my eyebrows, my big eyebrows.
Oh.
Mr. Bean.
What the heck?
What?
So how did
They're mean.
how did you deal with that? How did you overcome that?
Mr. Bean.
Were you like totally and completely traumatized?
Did you beat them up?
damaged by that?
Oh, here we go.
No, I became Mr. Bean. Hey!
Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. DJ.
You guys want to call me Mr. Bean? I'm going to be the famous Mr. Bean then. You'll see me around.
Kuya Magic, I just want to say you look 100% more guapo.
Then Mr. Bean.
You know, sometimes
Magic
sometimes I'm not saying this is universal, but sometimes it is those insults, it is those bullying, it is those things that people that try to bring you down that shape you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes inspire you to do better, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Sometimes
Nudge you, push you.
The bullies actually make you better because whether you like it or not, an insult, whether it's from a place of love or from just a bad place, now I'm gonna grain of truth. Why did they call me this? You know
Why
what I
did
mean?
they say this?
Where does that come? Where did that come from? You know? You know what I mean? Like, so if you analyze what the messenger and the message, there is a certain truth to it, and sometimes you use it to inspire you to do well, to do better, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Kato sigurong insult sa akong classmate atong una nga. If you're a
Pero
little, a little taller, I would be
have less pimples
I would be a big time actor, right?
Yeah.
So una ako like, I can't do anything about my height, man. Maybe pimples, yes.
and the skin.
And my
yes.
skin color, maybe.
probably.
Now with glutathione, I could have, I could have, right?
Yeah. Or just not go out as much and
so
painit.
I think manggod, bullying na siya kung wag yung kayo mabuhat. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, kanang special child, right?
Yes, or like you said, being a lisp or for
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
or like kanang,
And
it's totally out of your control.
Yes,
and
then you insult you for something that you can't control, and,
yeah, or make fun of something like
or call out something that you
Yeah,
can't control,
exactly.
right? So I guess that's the kind of bullying, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was like this one like unwritten rule where you like, if you, don't say anything if it's something that they can't change in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
if they can't change it in 10 seconds, then don't say anything.
Why is there
For example,
shelf life?
like height, pimples, or like
Color of skin?
pimples, color of skin. They can't like remove their pimples in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't.
I could remove
Prick
it.
them then and there. Oh, but I immediately thought of like when my grandma would say, "Bako kay ka, ay pag binako niya." I can fix my posture in 10 seconds, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because then, 10-second
Yeah,
rule.
yeah.
So that's a 10-second rule.
10-second rule.
Queen Magic Heat's coming up next. He
Yeah.
was once bullied back then. He looked like Mr. Bean. Of course, Raj here thinks he's like Mr. Bean,
But guapo.
but
More
more
guapo
guapo
nga Mr.
than
Bean.
He's like the guapo version of Mr. Bean. So now we're bullying Mr. Bean.
Now we're bullying Mr.
Oh,
Bean.
no. Oh,
You know,
my gosh.
Mr. Bean is knighted. Kibaw mo na nga, he's like Sir Mr. Bean.
Oh.
Whatever. What's his real name?
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson.
He's
yeah.
like Sir Rowan Atkinson.
Wow.
Wow. Saya. Saya.
Grabe ka yung role sa the world of comedy, right?
Yes.
Imagine what he did, man. Like,
Yeah.
just no
Mr. Bean was
words.
my favorite when I was a kid. I watched every episode of the animated and the real life series.
I love you, Rowan.
I even had
I
my
love
own. I had my own stuffed toy that I named Teddy, but it wasn't a teddy. It was.
Yeah, it was just.
It was a
Yeah.
bear, but I
And
call. I mean,
you know, like he
rabbit.
was being insulted as he looked like Mr. Bean with the eyebrow and all that stuff. Sometimes we go like the insult, ba?
Oh,
Somebody calls out something about you.
okay.
It is probably something that the other person is seeing in himself, For example, I'll give you an example. This is a true psychological fact, but you have to back me up on this, Justine.
Okay.
Especially in
Go psych teacher.
In the younger years, right? Nag-ingon sila kuno, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong. Nag-ingon sila nga, some people kuno, or a lot of people who are gay and are in denial or don't know that about them, they don't like that in other people.
So they saw why other people for being gay.
For being gay.
But it's because deep inside
they're actually masuya sila in a way that they're able to other people are freely able to express themselves as gay. And here they are, fighting tooth and nail not to be able to expose them being
themselves.
gay. So masuko sila. Is this a true psychological?
Yes, it is. And we discussed this. Do you remember this, Raj?
That's my psychology teacher, guys.
Do you remember this? We talked about different coping mechanisms.
Tell us about that because it has something to do with bullying. I think.
So there's a coping mechanism in which sometimes when someone is overwhelmed with a feeling or there's something that makes them uncomfortable, maybe thinking about their own sexuality makes them uncomfortable, or they have been denied of that for so long, then they do what we call as projection.
Okay.
So instead of, because they can't be able to express that themselves, they project it onto someone else. So ilang hatred for that, ilang ka-anger, it turns in ilang anger for not being able to express that, their frustration, it turns into this like,
so they become a bully.
They become a bully kaya they want to project it onto someone else. Dili man ko kapagawa sa akong sexuality. So, I'm gonna bully someone and be like, oh, you can't be, bayot man ka. So, that's very prevalent though. Like, I don't know if it's just like a Filipino thing, but like, I feel like when you don't healthily express your emotions, and that's what happens for a lot of bullies.
Yeah.
So if you teach that to the kids, right? If they're made aware of the psychological fact,
exactly.
then they will have, number one, they will have an understanding of what a bully is, and they themselves as bully, they will understand and process the feeling, and maybe perhaps I may be saying this hopefully, not become bullies themselves.
Yeah, maybe. Awareness is the first thing. If you don't know that it's wrong, or if you don't know that, oh, that's what I'm doing now, I didn't know that I was transferring my own, like projecting my own anger into someone else. I'm just like, calling them out for being something I don't like.
Yeah, I do believe this is, I think this is a topic that should be discussed a bit earlier in life.
Okay.
Because this psychology thing, I actually just learned about Miss Narvi in Miss Narvi's class. Guys, shout out to her class, guys. And like we didn't, the only thing that we were like 100% just told to do is just go tell the teacher. And I think it's like awareness, like what you are doing and what that person's doing to you, what you are feeling, should be something that should be explained to the kids a bit earlier than what, like, because like grade 11 is like 17 years old to 18 years old. I think this is something like
something na grade school pa lang.
Yes, something that they learn before high school, because high school that's where it
that's
where
the
it begins.
heavy hitter.
That's the heavy thing.
Okay.
The heavy hitting.
Because you're not quite an adult, but you're also not a kid when you're in high school.
Middle ground.
They call that the ambivalent stage, right?
The what? Ambivalent stage. Okay.
That's why they call it middle school.
Middle school.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ang mo, Raj, is kinanglan tudluan nato atong mga kabatan-unan about that psychological fact. So there has to be like intense psychology classes.
No, actually, that's the mauna siyang purpose of a guidance office supposedly, no? And then that is why sa 2013 gihimo gyud na siya law ang Anti-Bullying Act, that schools are now required to really have programs for the prevention, detection, and the to make sure that it doesn't happen, that bullying doesn't happen. And that's why I remember as a kid, it was very much hammered to me. I don't know how many talks ang guidance office nagbalik-balik when I was a kid, like no bullying, aside from the grow, glow, and grow food.
So no bullying sounds like an empty advice, right?
Yeah, I mean they would well, fortunately,
no bullying. But
it's just like
how about explaining what bullying? Why you're a bully? Why people do the way they?
I mean, fortunately, in my case now, when I was in grade school, they did go into depths of that. They did explain, not to the psychological degree of that, but they did explain as to why, how hurt people. Like, they could actually be going through something. Like, they would discuss two sides of the coin, how, like, a bully actually could be someone who's been who faced bullying before.
Or maybe at home, right? You don't know. You
don't
know, right?
Yeah, diha din niya gipagawa sa school. Or okay, let's look at the workplace example now, as you mentioned, no? It could be nga someone who bullies in the workplace is because sa iyang own family siguro siyang balay, then he is not given much importance. Mao na hinawd-hawd siya sa iyang trabaho, di ba? So it applies in all aspects of life, really.
I don't know if you guys know the quote, prevention is better than cure.
Prevention.
Oh.
Is better
Prevention
than
is
yeah.
cure.
yes.
Okay.
So like
how do you prevent
because like
the bully from
yeah,
happening?
most of the time where kids get to actually learn about bullying
Okay.
is when the bullying already happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think prevention, like
Oh.
giving them like a talk or like something you can relate it to the subjects of the like elementary school subjects, like sentences in English. It's a good awareness for the kids, so something that can be prevented.
I like
than
that.
curing.
Prevention is better than cure. And I like how we consummatum est? Consummatum est or ano with that. No nga.
Yeah. Prevention is better than cure.
Still better to know about it before it happens to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, the thing is, in an academic setting, the world is not just your school, although it's a representative of your
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
So
small.
It's very small representative, but at least that's why you go to a big university, so
Yeah.
it'll become more representative. But when you go out there in the world, other people aren't educated the way you were. And,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
they weren't ready, and to cope with all of the stressors in life and become bullies themselves and all that stuff. So you will still
Be ready.
you will still be exposed to a lot of bullying, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people, different walks of life, so didn't go to the same school as you.
Yeah.
So you're not as ready
Yeah.
because you're not.
that's
Not
true.
as exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So then how do we know that?
Yeah.
So
so it goes back to what I
prevention
said. We're all trying to build a world that agrees with
with
us.
us.
Yeah.
So I think prevention should come with what you were saying also, Jiggy nga.
Prevention with
Kanang making sure that your
exposed-
kids are ready ba?
Exposure.
Oh.
yeah, prevention with exposure.
Yeah, exposure. But how do you?
How do
That's true,
you
that's true.
measure that? This
How
is
do you
the right.
How do you expose somebody from bullying? Like how do you?
You hire people to bully your kid like like I'll be like 50 pesos. You gotta say this comment to my
Yeah.
kid. You gotta comment on their picture
If
or
he breaks down and cry, I'll give
But
you
don't be too
bonus.
harsh. Don't be too harsh.
but not too harsh.
He's gonna want to jump off the building.
If you make it,
Diba, anagid ka nga. Then give me a refund. Why? You bullied too hard. I said just one comment. I didn't say to stalk
This
them.
could go on forever, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us. Thank you so much for listening to all our nonsense or our bullying. Daghang salamat sa inyong
Chika.
pagpaminaw. Please join us once again tomorrow, 8 to 12 in the morning. Of course, we're talking about top of the morning. Thank you so much for being part of our topic. Have you ever been
Yeah.
bullied or are you the bullied?
Thank you, everyone.
Raj, daghang salamat, Raj.
thank you so
Raj,
much.
thank you so much for
And
joining us.
pasayloa me if there's something that we said
No.
that if you felt like it was bullying.
Yeah.
We didn't intend to
Totally
be-
fine. Nothing.
Thank you so much. And Justin, thank you so much for
Thank
your,
you so much, Jiggy, and thank
for
you so
your-
much.
for your
Thank you,
legal,
everyone.
legal advice.
Oh my goodness. Thank you to everyone who's been listening to us.
Just bullying you.
And
Yeah,
everyone,
bullying again.
everyone, guys, remember, ayaw maghumba. Don't humba,
Ayaw paghumba.
guys. Ayaw paghumba, guys.
And we're gonna end it with the last few words of Jose Rizal.
Kana.
Consummatum est.
Woo! It is finished for today.
On 105.1 TMC.
The best of us. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Kuya Magic is coming up next. The Mr. Bean lookalike.
But still very guapo.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
I might be the one of the accused, going against what was already written, a constant victim of abuse. The odds are that
Okay, got it. So yeah, I'll just fill this out, and then okay, Jiggy, I'll fill this out for us, and then I'll
You
have
throw
you
this
the-
out?
I know. I'll
So you
fill.
said I didn't
I'll
hear.
fill this out for
I'll
us.
fill it out again.
But I'll ask for your advice niya on what to put here soon. Sige. I'll just hold on to this.
Sige po. I can get that naman po tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you po.
All right,
I had
Raj.
so much fun.
Yeah, Raj, I hope this was okay for you.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
if you notice, we just yap about
This
everything
is
and
perfect.
anything.
I love it. Thank you so much.
All right. Your parents are downstairs, right?
Yes.
I'll prepare my stuff. Hold on.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Sorry for exposing you to. I'm scared what your dad will think.
I know. Actually, he agreed with lots of your points. I said, "Hey, wow!" For the first time, he said, "I like a DJ who's really smart." So thank you so much.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, man. I'm sure we have a lot to learn from each other.
Yeah, definitely, Raj.
Yeah, I think bullies start because they think they're the
So, Raj,
shit.